want to know how I'm
All right, we're live. What's going on, everyone? If you guys want to go ahead and double tap the screen, comment, interact, help get some people in here. If you're over on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button. Would appreciate it. That would be good. That would be fantastic. Good morning. Some breaking news overnight that we'll get into in a minute. The Supreme Court has halted deportations. And we're going to see how the Trump administration responds if they're going to violate that order. Constitutional crisis literally every day. Literally every day. 98% of Trump voters, that's because they're stupid. By the way, it's called an argument ad popularium. 98% cap. I guarantee that doesn't exist. I can actually look it up. Hold on. Can't get 98% on anything. I don't see anything from CNN. You got a citation? I already know it's bullshit. Anytime anybody says 98%, you can't get 98% to agree on anything. There's always, it's a rule in polling. You'll always have 7% of the population that will say some dumb shit. What's going on, everyone? If you guys want to go ahead and double tap the screen, comment, interact, help get some people in here, that would be cool. Just watch it on CNN. Find me a citation. You don't watch CNN, remember? You watch a fake news media, and that's also called ad hoc rationalization. When you don't support anything someone says until they say something that agrees with you. Saturday morning live. Yeah. Baby K's out doing the Easter stuff with his mom, so I felt like I would go live. Those are so confusing. I know. Us having coaching thoughts is very, very confusing to MAGA. Pointing it out. It's not my news source. You haven't pointed me to anything. You just said something. You have to substantiate. Better than Saturday morning cartoons? Yep. Mysteriously, you can't find it? Well, never existed. So you lied. You're a liar now. You can just go ahead and live on that. You are a liar. It's weird watching it work. Well, you're welcome. How's everyone doing? If you guys want to go ahead and double tap the screen. This guy says I'm scared of him. You can join the live. Why would I be scared of MAGA? I literally invite them to come debate me every single day. Every single day. No, you're a liar. You say the claim that is not true. That's a lie. You're a liar. Why don't you come in? Why don't you come in? Why are you chirping from the stands? Can't debate liars? I know, which is why it's going to be real hard to debate you. If you guys are debating, go ahead and hop in the box. Would appreciate it. The MAGA very clearly are losing it in my comment section already. I even barely started up. No, so, I mean, I want to have the official lives, but honestly, I want to have some more casual lives. They're pretty good. Today, we were going to do a panel live, waiting to see if we can get a debate in here. TikTok's not really sending it out to people, which is fucking annoying. You can't debate liars and propaganda. I know, which is why you can't debate MAGA. I'm glad you're getting it. You made a claim that was a lie. The only person in here that's lied is you. And you're sitting there calling other people a liar. That's crazy. What's going on, everyone? Alright, man, you can stop spamming my chat. It's getting annoying. You can either join or stay quiet. What platforms are we on right now? All of them. The casual live was fun. Yeah, it was fun. I think we're going to have some more of those coming up. But right now, you know, we're going to see if we can get a panel live in here. DM Jaden, see if he's awake. I don't think he is. What's going on? Are Democrats tired of losing? Check the courts, bud. Trump's losing everything. Trump's losing everything. If you guys want to debate, go ahead and hop in the box. Would appreciate it. I didn't watch any debate last night. Paige, you want to hop in? We're having a panel live. Just a little yappity yap sesh. A little more casual today. So, SCOTUS blocked deportations overnight out of Texas. We'll see how the Trump administration responds. How do I expect them to respond? To be obstinate. They can't actually send them, though. Because you're going to have, I mean, whoever authorizes that from the lower down, Trump may not be subject to the court order, but the other people are. And so if they go against that, oh, they're in so much shit. They're in deep shit. Deep shit. So we'll see what happens. I think this will probably become a political issue. I don't know what they're planning on doing. If they actually deported people, oh man, judges across this country are going to be licking their chops at the people that did it. Yeah, they're coming down with more 9-0 rulings. Like they're really, really setting the stage for stop. If you guys are on YouTube, want to do me a solid. If you guys want to hit the like button and leave a comment, interact, would appreciate it. It does help it get it out to people. If you guys want to sub on any one of the platforms, help it get it out, I would appreciate it. If you're over on TikTok, what I need is some people to double tap the screen, see if we can get up to 50K likes, see if we can get it on the For You page and get some debates in here, and that would be great. Yeah, they're photoshopping tattoos on Kilmar Garcia. Their photo, I don't know if you guys saw this. Jack Posobiec posted a thing where he had tattoos on his hands, which by the way does not make you a criminal, but and the tattoo is literally his promo code. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? So as I've said, I think the Supreme Court is taking a measured approach, and yeah, I don't know if Josh is going to join or anybody else is going to join. Sharon said she was dashing. Alito and Thomas dissented. Makes sense. Hi, Paige. Hopefully we can get some debates in here. That'd be good. Or, some discussions would be nice. We'll see. How's your morning?
It's going. I'm on my first cup of coffee still, so there's that part.
Oh. Traditional.
You know what's crazy about Garcia is a lot, yesterday, I don't remember what panel I was on, somebody said that they don't think he's in that prison because he looks so good in the pictures. And I was like, you don't think these people understand that he needs to look good? Like the prison, the president, he needs to look good, guys. If he looks bad, it's gonna be worse for the president, the prison. So they clean them up.
Yeah, it may have been why they took time. Maybe he just had bruises all the hell over him. Who knows? But yeah, they're not gonna send him out there looking like he, was just in a torture chamber. So. Yeah, but anyway, traditional American is in the box.
I've talked to him before.
He doesn't really add anything.
He can get the ball rolling.
That's fair. Do we want this ball rolling? Less like a ball, more like toxic sludge. If you guys are over on TikTok, can you double tap that screen, see if we can get some debates in here?
Well. Anyway.
Leave the ball alone, yeah.
So.
Have you given up on your whole spiel here?
Giving up on what? What am I giving up?
How much more shit has to either not happen or he has to reverse course on before you're like, you don't really know what he's doing? Can we agree to that? If Biden reversed... Hold on a second. If Biden lost, like, I don't know, every single court case, with the exception of a handful, and he reversed course on every single policy, would you say that he was indecisive and didn't know what he was doing?
It's different. It's different.
How is it different?
Well, because Biden, of course, we all know that he does not comprehend things the right way.
I don't know what that means. I'm just simply asking you, if Biden reversed course on all of his policies, would you say that he's mentally incompetent?
Well, Biden, I guess since he's been out of the presidency, I guess that he's been slowing down. So, I don't know. I saw that horrible speech that he made in Chicago the other night. He didn't know what he called colored kids.
I'm just still gonna keep asking this question.
Did you see that?
I swear to you, I'm just gonna keep asking the same question. I'm not gonna entertain deflecting to talk about anything. I'm asking you a very clear question. If Biden reversed course on all of his policies like Trump has, would you say that he was mentally incompetent?
I would say he's a flip-flopper.
Okay, so Trump is a flip-flopper.
Wow.
What?
Because he's going back and forth with the tariffs.
Well, they negotiate. He takes them off. That's what happens.
What did he get for the negotiation?
He said that he gets 0 for 0.
No. What did he get for the negotiation? He didn't get 0 for 0, though. He didn't get 0 for 0. There were 2 or 3 countries that said 0 for 0.
But that's the negotiation process. You gotta let it take
The
time.
negotiation process was to evaporate $11 trillion in the stock market. That was the negotiation tactic to get back what would be a couple $1 billion a year that we don't even pay, by the way.
We had a couple bloody weeks. I know. We had a couple bloody weeks in the stock market. I mean,
I'm still asking you, how is Trump not a flip flopper? If you would apply that standard to Biden, how is he not a flip flopper? Because he hasn't gotten anything.
look, all I'm trying to tell you is, so
No thanks. You can answer that
if
question.
you negotiate, you take
He's
off
not
a tip.
negotiating anything though.
He said that I'm gonna put a 90-day pause, and
What, he didn't get anything for his negotiation.
he's
It's
having world
very
leaders.
clearly a flip flop.
He said he had world leaders kissing his ass. So that's what he's
No,
doing.
they're
Now.
actually not. They're planning on going to China.
Yeah, right. Why would they want to go there?
How
What?
did Canada kiss his ass? What did he get out of Canada so far?
Well, Carney, the little liberal trader over there, he said that he had a talk with Carney. He had a very, very good, productive talk with Carney, and everything's gonna be all right.
So nothing.
So nothing.
He had a talk
So
with
you
Carney.
can't point to anything he got.
Of course I can.
Okay,
He put
I'll
a-
wait.
He put a 90-day pause.
That's what he did. I'm asking you for what he got. If
He
you
got
hand
0 for 0.
if you hand a clerk money, right, and then
Yeah.
they hand you back a good, you got something from it. What did we get?
You got 90%. You got 90. I mean, you got 0% for 0%.
So he didn't get 0% for 0%. There were a few countries that offered that to him. But regardless, so wait. So hold on. There were 3 countries, 2 to 3 countries from my recollection that offered 0 for 0. And of those
Right.
countries, it would be a few $1 billion in tariff revenue.
Right.
Right. So what did he get for putting tariffs on the other, what would be 190 some odd countries in the world?
Look, all I'm going to tell you is that.
No thanks.
What do you mean? No thanks.
We're not deflecting from that. You can do a few things. You can say, well, he didn't get anything. You can say he got something, but he didn't get back what he lost in it, which would be a bad deal. You can't say that he had a good deal. So which one is it?
Either
Is 0% nothing? If I give you 0% of something, is it something?
no.
Yeah, so we got nothing.
And by the way, traditional, you're aware that the 0 tariffs, do you know who that affects, right?
It affects us. Yeah.
Who does Trump, so the Philippines was one of the countries that got 0%, or Vietnam, one of them. What do we get out of them lowering their tariff rate?
It was Israel, Vietnam, and it was the European Union.
The European Union did not agree to a 0 for 0.
Yes, they did. They said it.
No, they didn't. So
He
this
did, though.
is really quick. Let's just get that for a second. They didn't say that, but let's just say this for a second. You think that crashing the global economy to remove tariffs that they would have otherwise done to avoid this whole situation, you think that that's worth it? To crash people's 401ks, to cost people hundreds of thousands of dollars, to cost
For a
them their
little while.
retirement
For a little
for an
while.
amount of money that they will never miss.
For a little while. For a little while. We got to go through
For a little
pain.
while, what? People already sold out. That's why the market crashed. People sold out. They lost money.
For a little while.
What do you mean for a little
Traditional.
while? How do they lose money for a little while if they sold out of the stock market?
What happened was that we have to, we need pain for gain, you know?
I'm paying for gain. We didn't get any gain.
But you got to give it time.
Give what
why-
time? How does 0% tariffs going to bring their fortunes back, bring their retirements back?
Because, God, you know, what Trump said was that when they've been abusing us
Can
for
you
so many
imagine for a second if Biden crashed people's 401ks
he doesn't
foreseeably?
have a, he
Your
didn't have a
head would
plan.
explode. Biden did have a plan. Everybody made a ton of money under Biden. Everybody made a ton of money under
I
Biden.
lost.
That's not even, then you're a bad investor. That's not even debatable. If you had money in the stock market
My
under Biden,
uncle
you made a
lost
ton of money.
20,000. He lost about $20,000 that he had
From what?
from one of the stocks under Biden,
Then he's a bad investor.
and then that's why he voted for Trump.
He's a bad investor then. Why is he blaming Biden for him being a bad investor because the stock went under?
He's a Trump supporter. All of them are.
Wait, traditional, how much money has he lost now with Trump?
He said that he doesn't mind losing just a little bit too big.
He wasn't I don't mind going belly up under Trump. Are you okay? Here's what you guys are doing. You're walking into a casino with $1,000. You're losing 1,000 in blackjack. You walk out. You like play one last hand. You get $500, and you guys are like punching, like, yeah, I did it. I won. I won. That's what you guys sound like.
Well, I lost in my favorite casino, so really I won.
He said that
I lost in my favorite casino, so really, if you think about it, I won. You know, they're just rebuilding the machines, making them better, making them more equitable. I'm just waiting.
Look, if you don't mind losing a little bit under Trump, because he knows that the golden age is here. We know that the golden age is here.
Who is saying that who is saying that the economy is going to go up under Trump? Who is saying this? Because everybody that I'm listening to is saying we're screwed, including his own Fed chair.
No, you know what? Jerome Powell was a seller, and that's why he's about to replace him.
He's a seller? What do you mean?
He's a sellout.
Donald Trump literally helped appoint him.
Yeah, but Trump said he's replacing him soon.
Why? So Donald Trump made... Hold on. So Donald Trump can't pick people right then, right? He said he was going to drain the swamp, but instead he's bringing in people that are bad.
You know, he's getting rid of Powell, though.
Why? He put in Powell.
Because he keeps hiking up the rates.
He's not hiking up the rates. He's brought the rates down.
No. He's incompetent.
Powell just lowered the rates like last week.
Yeah, but why does he why he kept raising it, though?
He was raising... Are you dumb? Genuinely. Child.
He's not...
Why might we raise the interest? If you don't know the answer to this question, stop talking on the economy. Why did we raise the interest rate after COVID? Can you tell us that?
Well, that was because we had a pandemic, though. That's different.
What? Then why did Powell raise the rate? Do you not know? Then don't talk about it. You don't know.
Well, yesterday in the swearing of the ceremony of Dr. Oz yesterday, he talked about Powell a little bit, hiking up the rates a little bit more.
Powell was not talking about raising the rates. Powell was talking about lowering the rates over the next year.
Not Powell. I meant like Trump said when he was swearing at Dr. Oz yesterday. He said that he's gonna get rid of Powell. That's
okay, what does that have to do? I don't understand.
You don't understand because Powell.
What is the interest? Why does the interest rate? Why does the interest rate go up? Why did it go up? Can you explain that to me?
More money, more expensive. I don't know.
You don't. If you don't know, why are you talking about the interest rate?
Because that's what Trump said yesterday.
Because Trump's an idiot. He doesn't even know why the interest rate came up. He just wants it to come down.
That man has been doing business longer than you, me, and everybody else on this line.
Fraudulently.
So his father was a fraud too?
Yes! His father got busted. Yes, Yes. Donald Trump was proven to have literally committed fraud. That's how he kept afloat all those years. For 50 years, he committed fraud.
You know he filed bankruptcy on Section 11, right?
Can you tell me the difference between... You mean chapter? Can you tell me the difference between chapter 7 and 11?
I know Chapter 11 is about bankruptcy. I don't know what Chapter 7 is about.
It's about bankruptcy. I
Also
don't.
bankruptcy.
Listen, I'm trying to make this make sense. Maybe it's not coming out the right way.
No, you just don't understand what you're saying. You're complaining about the interest rates not coming down and Powell not bringing the rates
Let me
down.
ask you a question.
Why did
Maybe
he
I'm
bring
not
the rates up in the first place?
I don't know, man.
Bankruptcy under Section 8.
Yeah, that's funny. You're funny. Section. I'm in chapter.
He has 6 bankruptcies. By the way, he employed less people. This is true, by the way. He employed less people and brought in less revenue with his casino in Atlantic City than any other casino on the Strip.
That casino. No, yeah. Okay. So what happened? So what? I forget.
Traditional. Sit still. We can hear every time you move.
So what? So what?
Every
if
time
I-
you
if
pulling
he-
shit out your ears. What?
I heard that. What is the big deal if he did that? Like, he's still president. You still have to respect the office, no matter what.
Why? I don't have to respect anything. I'm not.
respect
You didn't respect Biden. Hold on. You didn't respect Biden. Don't give me that shit now. No, you didn't. No, you did not.
I don't respect Biden's policies. I don't
Bro, you were
respect his-
fighting for your life out here. You don't even know what Biden's policies are. And the ones you could name are good.
He fought for the new Green Deal, which didn't
He
pass.
didn't fight for the new Green Deal.
He did. He was cuddling up with AOC and
He
and
didn't
all the
fight
rest
for
of
the new
liberals
Green Deal.
up in the
He
White
cut it
House.
in half, and then he cut it in half, and then compromised on cutting it in half.
He's an old senile person.
What does that have to do with his policies? Everything you accuse Biden of doing, everything you accuse Biden of doing, Trump does, and you don't call him senile, even though he very clearly is.
Trump is way better than Biden. Look how
Trump
strong
can't
he is.
formulate a I have listened to more Trump than you have listened to your own
How many
mother.
times has
Trump
Biden done a
cannot
long-
formulate a sentence. Trump cannot formulate a sentence
How
to
many
save
times-
his life. And you guys focus on these one or two. It's
I'm
crazy
sorry,
to me because
I'm-
you focus
wait,
on
how
these
many
one
times
or
did
two.
Biden
Hold
get-
on, I was talking. Thanks. You focus on these 1 or 2 second clips from Biden. Go look, he's incompetent. You don't watch any of the videos of him actually talking because that's too difficult for you to
Yeah,
do
he
and it doesn't
shakes
fit
the
your narrative.
hand.
But if I turn on 2
shakes
hours
hand
of
with the
Trump
air.
and sit there and
shakes
listen to
hands with the
Trump,
air.
excuse me, if I sit there and listen to Trump for 2 hours, nothing that he makes sense. I don't have to put together a clip of him. Literally everything the guy says is void of reality.
Really?
You know, and he, yeah.
got a
And I don't know
question,
why
Tommy.
you're
Have you ever
focused.
seen
I don't know
Biden-
why you're focused. I don't know why you're focused on 2 senile people, as you claim, because right now there's only 1 in the White House.
Have you ever seen Biden do a 2-hour press conference like Trump does?
We don't
No,
need
but
to
I
see
saw-
him do
I
a
don't- I don't
2-hour
need to-
press. We
I
don't
don't-
need that.
We don't need him. You know what we need him to do? We need him to do
don't
good
wanna-
policy. That's what we need. We don't need him to sit up there and proselytize about how good the policy is. It's so much better that everybody. We need him to do the fucking policy.
You telling me him answering the media's questions, why part one is
No, you're not paying attention. He's rambling.
listening.
No. Trump rambles. He's just rambling. He's a
bad? He says a
windbag.
lot of good things. If you really pay attention to what he's saying, I think you're going to understand.
What's
I
he,
mean,
what's he
he-
saying?
He calls out CNN for what they do, first of all. No
Cool.
one's
Can I
ever-
play you a clip?
Okay.
Yeah, let's listen to a clip.
Let's listen to a clip, and you can explain this to me.
Here we go. Making up stuff.
What?
Making up
Additional, we can't hear you. You sound like you're talking into your armpit.
I'm sorry.
I bet
That's
you
my
just
charge.
turn. Oh, you can just turn your mic off. That would be really great.
Oh, because I'm spinning facts and you're not.
You literally have not said a single true thing since you've been in here.
Okay, Trump is your president.
Not a single one.
Trump
There,
is your
you got
president.
one. You got one.
Trump is a good president.
Can you name a Biden policy?
The Inflation Reduction Act, which was bad
Why is it bad?
because it didn't actually lower inflation. It actually made it bad higher.
How did it make inflation higher?
Because eggs were up the roof under Biden.
No, I'm sorry. What policy in that bill made eggs higher? Since you said eggs specifically, what policy
But
enumerated
it
in
just
that
made
bill brought?
okay. Let me make it better for you. It made food in general higher
How?
because when I was into the grocery store under Biden,
No, 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 no,
I would see a
no, no,
box
no,
of
no,
cereal
no,
for
no.
$8.
That's not no, no, no. What in the bill makes grocery prices go higher?
I would see eggs for
I
$9.
don't care what you saw. You're
Excuse me.
creating a causal fallacy. Can you tell me what in that bill caused groceries to go higher?
I don't. I didn't remember reading the whole bill. I read. It was like
You didn't
3
read
years
any of
ago.
the bill. Let's be real.
It was.
What does the
It was a
Inflation
stab your
Reduction
back.
Act do?
And basically, it lowers inflation, but it didn't do that.
What does it do?
I just told you it lowers inflation. Didn't I say
How?
that?
I thought, so it lowers inflation, but it doesn't lower. How does it lower inflation?
It lowers food. It lowers clothing. It lowers
It
all
doesn't
of that.
target either. It doesn't target either of those.
Just play me the clip. Just play me the clip.
So you don't. Okay, so you don't know why we raised and then started
You are
lowering interest
mad.
rates.
You
You
are
don't
mad.
know. I'm
You are-
actually I'm having a grand old time right now. You
No,
don't
you
know.
are
You
mad.
don't know what's in the Inflation Reduction Act. You don't know what the Green
Can
New
you tell
Deal
me-
was.
Can you tell me what policies you want Trump to follow? Your left wing lunatic policies, right?
I don't have any left-wing lunatic policies. I have policies that are implemented across the globe to astounding success.
We don't want that here, though.
Why would you not want that here?
We're not-
What policy?
we're not
I haven't
global.
even listed a
I'm not-
policy. What
gonna
what
be honest with
policy
you,
don't
Trump
you
is-
want here?
It's America first. It's not globalist
What
policies.
then why is he pushing everybody towards China?
Because that's where everybody want to go. Because they're a bunch of idiots. That's why.
Everybody wants to go maybe because Donald Trump has made it impossible to do business with the United States.
So what are all these world leaders coming here for?
They're
They're
not.
really not.
They're staying away.
I saw Netanyahu come. I saw the Prime Minister of India come. I saw
So
I saw the-
nobody that we rely on to beat China in a trade war. That's good. With maybe exception of maybe Israel.
we can rely on them. It's just that they, we got to make some deals with them. That's all.
Traditional.
Some
You
deals.
said, America first. What does that even mean? When was America second?
America's second was under Biden, where he did global pop, when he made sure that we were a bunch of globalists came and tried to make us into the rest of the world when we didn't want to do that. He
You
did. He
don't
cared
know.
about you. He cared about Ukraine first. He cared about other countries first. He didn't.
Well, hold
fund
on,
our
hold on.
cities.
Donald
He
Trump
didn't-
continues to fund Ukraine, so Donald Trump's Ukraine first too. Don't forget.
How is Donald Trump Ukraine first?
Donald Trump's continuing to fund Ukraine. He hasn't ended the war like he said he would. He's supporting Ukraine in this.
Vladimir Zelensky doesn't want to come and make some peace talks. That's why.
Vladimir Zelensky already has made peace talks.
I thought he was such a great negotiator that Putin would give in to him.
Yeah, because Trump didn't hand him a blank check like he was expecting for. That's why.
No.
Trump did, no one's handed Zelensky a blank check. It was never a blank check.
You didn't see the way he's around. You didn't see the way.
I'm
that
sorry,
his
really
wife-
quick. Is Donald Trump continuing to fund you? What has changed about Ukraine and Russia relations since Donald Trump came into office? Except
Trump is trying to
that
get
there's
both
now,
parties-
except by the way, I just want to point out, since Donald Trump was going to stop the war, Russia has now amassed 60,000 troops in Sumy and are preparing a spring offensive.
Did you see what Mike Waltz is doing?
I don't care. I'm asking you what substantially changed since Trump came into office in regards to Ukraine.
He's trying to get both parties to come and sit down. And
Okay, and they did, and it failed. So what has he gotten? Biden tried to bring them to come to the table too. In fact, there were more meetings under Biden about peace negotiations than there are under Trump.
So how come it never went
So
through?
what has changed substantially? Because Russia won't agree to any of it. Russia won't agree to any of it. Can you tell me again, like I said, like I was asking you, what's changed
And then
substantially between Trump and Biden?
Ukraine is not coming out to the table right now. And
Ukraine has come to the table multiple different times. They only have one request: get out of our country. That's the only request that they've had
And what do
for
you
peace
think Trump is doing?
negotiations.
You think Trump is trying to give Ukraine to Russia?
I'm asking you again because you're not answering questions. Has anything changed from Trump taking office and Biden leaving office in regards to the Ukraine policy?
I guess not.
Okay, so he's Ukraine first.
Yeah, he's Ukraine first. Awesome. We
That
love
is
that.
not true. That's a lie.
You know he was
just
giving
said-
money to Ukraine in his first term,
I
right?
said nothing has changed. That doesn't make him Ukraine first.
So let's track the logic. Biden had a policy set up towards Ukraine that you said was Ukraine first. Trump took that policy and has continued it, which would mean,
But he's not
okay,
giving money to
you
Ukraine.
use a little reductio. You can pick up your Harry Potter wand if you need.
Oh, Lord.
That reductio insinuates that Trump is Ukraine first. Otherwise, he would have changed the policies towards Ukraine.
He has to go through Congress to do that, and Congress is not doing it right.
He has to go to
And
Congress?
second-
Oh, so he can't unilaterally... So he lied to you about unilaterally doing it. He doesn't need to go to Congress for a peace deal, by the way.
Yeah, when
No, he doesn't have to go to Congress for you.
when Zelensky was here, he didn't. Trump and Congress didn't meet with him like together.
You see that Zelensky was disrespectful the last time he showed up to the White House.
He was
Absolutely not.
disrespectful because he told Donald
Yes.
Trump the truth? Why was he disrespectful?
He didn't
Because he
tell
didn't
Donald
wear a
Trump.
suit?
First of all, you're supposed to wear a suit to the White House. That is
Oh,
not
so what about Kid Rock? What about Elon Musk?
He had a blazer out, at least. He didn't have a blazer. He didn't have nothing.
Why did they... I'm sorry, were they wearing a suit? Because the question was suit. Why aren't you wearing a suit? Not why aren't you wearing a blazer?
You talking about that news reporter for Newsmax? I know, Eric Bolling.
Kid Rock.
I know.
Kid Rock. Why was Kid Rock invited there? No one said a word.
Because Kid Rock is a celebrity, not a president, not a politician, nothing.
Well, Zelensky's a celebrity too.
Zelensky's a president. He's a politician.
No, he was a celebrity first.
There was a
Okay.
former actor.
And
He's
I
a former-
find it so funny. I find it so funny that they just like are walking into this. The reason Zelensky doesn't wear a suit is because he doesn't want his people to think that he's another polished suit selling them on a bunch of bullshit.
Is that the
I
reason
don't know if
he's
you
not
know
wearing-
this. I don't know if you know
That's
this, but
stupid.
for instance, so for instance, it's not stupid. Do you remember 9/11? Are you old enough to remember that?
Yeah, I know about it, yes.
Okay, just know about it. You just heard in the grapevine.
I have a family member that survived it, yes.
Okay, that's good for them. Do you ever see the photos of George Bush at Ground Zero?
Okay, that's in a ground zero. He has a, he's in ground zero.
That's Ground Zero. Okay, okay. Ukraine has lost about 1,000 times more people than were
Okay.
lost in 9/11.
I'm not talking about the lives that lost. I feel bad for the lives that lost. But you know what? This war
Right,
has to end
so-
somehow.
Or 100 times more. 10 would be,
Listen.
about 100 times more. So you saying
not
that
the
this is
only-
categorically different, it would actually be worse. Ukraine is not showing up in a suit because they don't want to appear. He wants to appear humanized. This is a very normal thing to do.
Yeah, when he's going around asking for a blank check for every country, right?
He hasn't asked for a blank check. He's asked for very specific things. You're getting crushed here.
Anyways.
This isn't going well for you. You're getting absolutely annihilated.
Let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question? So
Sure.
you don't think he was disrespecting the vice president when he was talking back to the
No.
vice president?
Nope. I think that Vance went in. No. And the reason I don't is because Zelensky has been putting up with Russian propaganda, dictating policy on this war for 3 years. And Vance gets up there as vice president of the United States, and without missing a beat or batting an eye, he goes ahead and regurgitates Russian propaganda. And if you don't
How
have the
is-
common decency to go ahead and check yourself on what your Russion propaganda is against
Are
a
you
guy that's
really-
currently fighting against it, yeah, I would be
Are you
pretty
telling
pissed
me-
too.
Are you telling me our vice president is spewing Russia? Why would you say that about our vice president?
Because that's 100% true. You want
our
to pull up
vice
the clips?
president will never. He is your
He
vice
would
president.
never do that. They would never literally regurgitate Russian talking points ad nauseum, even though we can physically track those. We would never do that. Can you believe that the person that's been promoting Russian propaganda would never believe that? They're already doing that. They have been doing that. They've been doing it forever. Yeah, he's regurgitating Russian propaganda. Congratulations. Now you're understanding what our problem is with the fucking Trump administration, that everything that they regurgitate is Russian propaganda. That you guys have become Russian adjacent. That you should probably move there if you love it so much.
All Zelensky had to do was just listen, say his piece, be quiet.
Why would he just want to sit there and listen to them espouse Russian propaganda and then predicate what his peace deal is going to have to be based on those lies? Why would you sit there and do that? Why would you sit there and do that? If you were in a union, if you were a union rep and you were talking to the president and they were like espousing pro-corporatist beliefs that are inherently going to undermine your negotiation process, of course you would say something. You absolutely would. You want him to sit there and put up with the lies and the Russian propaganda so that Donald Trump doesn't look bad for being a dumbass.
I'm sorry. They were going to sign the minerals deal. They were going to have a lunch. They were going to have this. But no, he couldn't. He couldn't just listen. He couldn't just at least listen.
Why does he need to sit there and listen to Russian propaganda that's getting his people killed?
There is no Russian propaganda coming from the White
There
House.
was Russian propaganda. Does anybody remember the exact line he said?
Tell me what was echoing Putin, because nobody was echoing Putin.
I'll give you some things that echo it. Yeah, where they're saying, Ukraine, those people that are in the Donbass region, they're actually Russian. That's not true. They speak Russian. Most of them are Ukrainian. And they speak Russian because of Russification projects under Stalin.
Oh God. Oh God.
You're out of your depth here.
Democrat Party's losing their mind right now.
You're out of your depth. I can give you a ton of stuff. All of the stuff that came out about ivermectin, that came out about the vaccine, that came out about COVID, that came out about Russia and Ukraine. Anything that literally your president has regurgitated in those regards came out of a Russian bot farm. And we know because we can track it.
We've actually seen Russian bots here for years on TikTok.
Okay, but what does that have to... Okay, look.
Because it's part of the regurgitation. It's part of it, because you MAGA keep eating it up.
We're not eating crap up.
They say pro-Trump stuff and they say pro-Russian stuff because they believe Trump benefits them. And what happens?
So all of a sudden we're anti-American.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Violently anti-American.
Well, we're so anti-American. Why we won by 70 million votes?
What does that have to do? That's an argument ad populum. That doesn't verify your thing. What does that have to do with the fact that you're anti-American?
Anti-Americans don't win in this country.
Yes, they do. Very clearly, twice.
You're telling me you're talking to the whole 71 million.
What are you not getting about this? Donald Trump is putting idiots in charge of stopping China from taking Taiwan.
The best people there, Steve Bannon.
Hegseth? What Hegseth? You think Hegseth is going to be the guy that stops China from invading Taiwan? A guy with no understanding of military logistics? A guy with no understanding of military logistics.
For so many years.
That doesn't make you a tactician. It doesn't matter that you served in there for many years. It doesn't make you a tactician. Sorry, Paige, go ahead.
Hegseth, Bannon, all of them are bad.
Yeah, MAGA Wi-Fi.
No way.
Yeah,
this is not fair.
Listen. I'm gonna explain something to you. Across all of human history, the plight of governments, what's called the plight of despots, authoritarian figures, is that they put yes men into place. And you can go back across human history and you can see where they failed based on that. Russia in the 80s, Afghanistan recently with the Ghani government, Hitler,
I think
Mussolini. They put people, and in fact, Mussolini, interestingly enough, didn't do that at first. He put people in place that were qualified. Oddly enough, politically didn't agree with them, economically don't agree with them. Mussolini didn't agree with them in a lot of instances, but he put people in place that could get stuff done. But you look at this across human history, and you see when authoritarian regimes come in and they start appointing yes men instead of people that get shit done, which Donald Trump has done. You cannot argue that Hegseth, you cannot argue that Keg Stan Seth is that he in fact knows what he's doing. He doesn't.
I think
He
he's
doesn't.
the best for the job.
How is he the best for the job? What are his
He's doing
qualifications?
He was in the military. What do you mean?
Okay, there's millions of
That
other
was
people that were in the
former
military.
pilot.
Does that make them qualified?
He was. I think he was a 3-star or 4-star general or something like that. I don't know.
What you were asking, have you ever seen a building? He was not a 3 or 4-star general. The
I
fuck are
know,
you talking
what?
about? He was a major
Not even
captain.
close.
You're not even remotely close. You're about 20 years off of a rank.
My fault. I'm sorry.
Wait,
Look.
traditional. Hold on, traditional. Be quiet. Did you not? Let me guess. You didn't have a problem with the whole thing about adding in the journalist to the signal chat.
I found it a little disturbing.
It's a major.
Like, okay, you're gonna leak plans to a journalist. Okay, that's bad.
Yeah,
Do
but
I-
you're all. Wait, hold on. They're also on it. Not, that is not government approved. Signal. That app is not approved by the government for them to use.
Okay. Why was the vice president using it then?
Because he was breaking the law.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like no paper trail.
You guys really hate the Trump administration, don't you?
Yes.
Oh, no shit. And you're watching it in real time and you're still justifying it. You're watching their fuck ups
I like the
in
way-
real time.
I like the way
In
he
real time.
handles them. I like the way
Handles
he
what?
handles-
What have you
He
gotten?
handles the
from the
press.
Trump? What has Trump done that's good? I'm willing to bet I could
handles
name more stuff he's done that's good than you can. What has Trump done that's
passed
good?
He passed the Lincoln Riley Act. Good.
So that's not so what so right, so send people back out of the country so that they can come back in here after they're criminals. Right, that's good. That's awesome.
No.
Send them
that's
out of
not
the
what-
country so they can come right back in. That's a good
Have you
idea.
not seen? Have you not seen how?
I'm so
beautiful
sorry.
the
Is that a
border-
good idea? Is that a good idea that we lose track of the criminals you guys say you guys hate? That we send them out of the country so they can come right back in? So they're out of our
We're sending them
custody?
We're sending them to El Salvador. What do you mean?
Where they can come right back in, right?
How? That's a high security prison.
Yeah. So
They can
was
come back in
Gitmo.
though, right?
Yeah. So was Gitmo. And they had to bring all those back.
What did we
And
get
what
for that
about-
act? What did we get for that act, by the way? What did we actually get out of that?
We get illegal aliens out of the country.
So that they can come right back in. Okay, awesome. That wouldn't be a good thing, would it?
The question is how they came back.
The question is how they. We don't know because Trump let them out of custody. So the answer to that could be yes or no, and I want to go with yes. I'm saying that it's the potentiality. You're saying release criminals back into their country so they can make their way back here.
And let me ask you a question. Have you not seen how
Well,
beautiful
what
the
else?
border's
What
looking
else?
lately? The
What else
border's
has he
looking
done that's
beautiful.
good? The border's not looking
beautiful.
anything. What's he done that's good?
The border's empty.
The border's empty? I don't know what that means. I actually don't think it is. I think there's a number of reasons for the amount of apprehensions coming down, none of which have to do with Trump doing a spectacular job there. Everything have to do with him rerouting resources to the United States to try and deport people.
Border crossings are down. Smuggling is like super duper down.
We don't know. We know that border crossings are down. The question is to why. Do you know what a confounder is?
No, I
Of
don't.
course you don't. Yeah, awesome. So there are reasons that things can be happening that are
do you
not
think
to
is
do with
that?
the Trump administration.
Why
One,
do you
he
think
could be
that?
cooking the numbers. I don't know. Two, people
What
could be
the hell?
genuinely scared in that first month. They could be genuinely scared in that first month. That could be a very real reason. The other reason that I think is almost certainly likely is because he's rerouted Border Patrol across the United States to try and deport people. And if they're not at the
bad.
border, guess what? They're not getting apprehensions.
Traditional. I have a question. If
What's
it
your
truly is
question?
about, if it's truly about getting these, as you like to call them, illegals, which is weird, the criminals out, why didn't they just go to the prisons first? Because right there.
You know why?
I'm gonna take some people. Is this
Mm.
Joseph? Are you debating? I'm gonna panel live it. I'm gonna let Josh in here for a minute, and then we'll start letting some other people in. I'll let you guys have it. I think I've chewed him up enough. If you guys want to debate, go ahead and hop in the box. If you guys want to support the channel, there's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. You guys can help us with the gift goal over here. Sub on YouTube or Patreon, independently funded. So if you guys want to support Saturday Lives, would appreciate it. Because got to keep the live going. Go ahead.
Traditional, answer my question. Why didn't he go to the prisons first? I mean, they're right there. Hello?
You know what? I think we need to take a step back. I think we all need to come as Americans, and I think we need to heal. That's all what I think we need to do. I think that's what we need to do.
Answer my question, Traditional. Why didn't he
Why?
go to the prisons first?
Why he didn't what?
Why didn't he go to the prisons first if this really is about getting criminals, undocumented
I don't
criminals?
think he needs to do that. I don't think he needs to justify why he's doing it. I think he just needs to do it, and that's it. I think he needs. I know you may think I may sound like an idiot or something like that, but this is what I personally believe in.
It's not sound like, sir.
Okay, whatever. I think this is what we need to do because I believe in something different. Because I don't believe in left-wing politics like you do. I don't believe.
Can you tell us what some of the policies we believe in are?
Okay, the Green New Deal. I think you believe in.
Okay, why is that a bad? Hold on, really quick though. You want to bring back manufacturing, so investing in United States manufacturing would be a good thing, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But you're against the Green New Deal, even though that's manufacturing jobs.
No, it takes away gas power, everything, anything.
It doesn't take anything away. It's an investment. It's an investment in the United States to make a transition to clean energy.
Again, the green. It's a scam. It's just a scam. Let's just call it what it is.
How is it a scam? It's bringing back manufacturing jobs to the United States.
You remember
It is
when
as we
Biden-
speak. Even the one part of it that went through, which was the Inflation Reduction Act, which funded money to green energy, it's brought back manufacturing jobs to the United States.
Again, that's not real production because that's just a scam. Okay, let's just.
I don't know what that means. What is it? What do you mean by scam?
It basically makes people think, oh, solar power, wind power, electricity is better than actual coal.
It's not just that.
fuel.
It's not just that. It's battery powered as what, and it is better. It is better
Yeah.
on every
So
level.
when the sun goes down, what happens? Or when the windmills stop working,
Hydronuclear windmills don't stop working. You constantly have them triggering on and off from different places based on wind speed.
You know,
Okay.
there's always wind, Traditional. Wind doesn't go away.
It could be okay. Listen, it could be a dry day. It could be no wind. What happens?
Sir,
There
what do you
is
mean
they,
no wind?
there is wind.
There's
There
always
is wind. There's always wind. That's what turbines do. The only time turbines really shut off is when they don't need it. They don't need the energy off the turbine, or if there's too much wind. They specifically build them high enough that they're always in a wind stream.
What is wrong with
Very
relying on
rare
things-
that they're completely shut off.
Okay, let me put it in this way. Maybe you understand better. What is wrong with relying on things we relied on for hundreds of thousands of years? Hundreds of years.
Because right, awesome. I'm glad you
think there was
asked.
ever-
Because that, just really quick, and then I'll let Josh have it. That energy price is going up. It's skyrocketing, while renewable goes down over time. So if you're trying to create energy for your country to be able to grow, it's beneficial if you can create a significant amount of green energy so that you don't have to rely on that more expensive energy. It's cleaner, so it's better for the environment. It also brings down electricity manufacturing costs, shipping costs, the list goes on. You can imagine if electricity costs about 1/5 of what other forms of electricity cost, if you can drive a car on that, if you can operate a plant on that, if you can operate your infrastructure on that, the price of everything goes down. The price of shipping, the price of building. That's why China's fighting so hard to get green energy, so they have a leg up on us. They're fighting hard to have green cars everywhere because it's going to speed up productivity.
Well,
Like,
no,
for
thank
instance,
you.
there was a study, just really quick so you can understand how critical this is. There was a study in Seattle that looked at the traffic. The traffic alone per year costs about $14 billion in productivity. I think that's the number, 9 to 14 billion, somewhere in there. It costs us a lot of money for people to sit in traffic. If you can fix that and make it cheaper so people don't have to waste gas, productivity goes up. So like when we got 4G LTE, it boosted our GDP by $500 billion. Why? Because productivity goes up. With 5G, it's supposed to be about $1 trillion a year. So you invest money in these things so that it helps productivity and brings down cost so that you can compete.
Let me ask you a question. So why do you? I'm just asking you a couple.
Did you listen to anything he said? Did you hear one
No.
word? Or were you just
If you
waiting?
guys are over on YouTube, want to hit that like button, would appreciate it. If you guys are over on TikTok, double tap the screen. You can help out with the gift goal. It does help us get out on the For You page and get some debates. But yeah, if you guys want to support Saturday live streams, would appreciate it. Venmo, Cash App in the bio. And that'd be cool. Wait, no, I gotta go get Baby K some Easter stuff here.
I heard what he said. Yeah, I heard what he said. He said that it makes it cheaper, it makes it renewable, everything, blah blah blah. Well, listen, you can stay with that, and I'll stay with my gas-powered car, my coal power. I'll stay with all of that.
It's
Remember when you
not
said
what
people
you
have been
want to
using
do.
gas-powered
If just really quick, if you want to keep that, that's fine. We're talking about moving society so that society is more productive.
That's a problem. You want to force society into this crap.
What do you mean force society? Society's forced anyways. When cars came around, people were forced to pay for the roads and the interstate systems and the infrastructure that came with it.
This is good stuff. This is not.
What do you mean? We already do that with broadband. Hold on a second. With broadband, you guys are literally saying we didn't get any broadband out there. Wasn't that forcing people to pay for broadband? Isn't that forcing that onto society? Same thing with 5G. We do this all the time because it's beneficial to our society. It's not forcing it on anyone.
You know how many Americans
You can
are
buy a
against that?
gas-powered car if you want and maintain a gas-powered car, whatever. But society as a whole, in its totality, is going to get better with renewable energy.
Listen, do you know how many Americans are against this, though?
I don't care. You understand that the rest of the world is fighting against every other country. You're like, this is a scam. It's not a scam because Chevron, BP, name another major firm. They're all moving to green energy. Saudi Arabia is positioning themselves. China, Russia, America, Europe, list goes on and on and on. There's going to be wars fought over this.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Oh my God! All you do is ask questions. You don't
Yeah, man.
address what's
You don't
being
fucking
said.
address
I
anything.
heard
Not a
what he
goddamn thing.
said.
I don't care if you heard it, man. You didn't address anything he said. The rest of the world is moving to green energy. What
Okay,
questions do you have atop that?
Yeah,
Let
if
me-
you're
let
just
me-
if you
let
care
me-
about the economy, can you at least look at this as a cash cow?
I can look at it as a cash cow, sure, but I don't.
Let me
word.
simplify. Let me simplify this for you, okay? China is fighting to get renewable everything, okay? When they do that, right? When they do that, their production cost is going to plummet. It's going to plummet. They don't have to worry about coal. They don't have to worry about none of that stuff. And they get the boost of building renewable energy stuff that they can sell to other countries. So they're going to beat us there, and they're going to beat us in the ability to produce it. And you're telling, and this isn't a small cost, by the way. This is a major cost. And you're telling me that you won't even consider that for American security, that we would take money and we would invest it into that to beat China because China's going to beat us. What happens if their energy costs, if their transport cost drops to 1/5 of ours?
Oh, I guess that's bad, actually. I guess.
That would be really bad. That would be really, really bad. So the solution would be to fund money, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give Josh and Paige final thing here, and then AJC paid to move on. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for AJC?
Listen,
I
all
got
I'm,
4 people in queue.
I'm still against it, though. I'm still
Yeah,
against
because
it.
you don't understand it.
I know I do understand it, but I
No,
don't.
you don't.
I
Hey
don't
man,
work.
do you
It's
think
too much
you
for
said something that
his
was really funny?
his
Do you think
big boy brain.
you said we've been using internal combustions for thousands of years? Is that what you said?
No, I said 100 years.
Oh, okay. So, do you think when they came out with internal combustion engines, there were people who were protesting? I don't know, picking up horse shit on the road because when we got internal combustion engines, we didn't have to worry about horse shit on the road, and all those horse shit cleaner uppers, they lost their jobs. Do you think that was a big deal back then?
Or
Yeah.
it was.
You think people protested cars because horses were dependable? You see, you're standing in the
guess
way
so,
of
yeah,
progression.
sure,
That's
whatever.
my point. You're standing in the way of progression. Things are going to progress no matter how hard you try. You might as well just get on board, bud. Renewable energy is going to save the world.
And that's a good point. You say America first, America first. Well, we're not when it comes to renewables. So you want us to
Listen,
sit back while the rest of the world progresses?
Just trust what the Trump administration is doing. Let's do that.
No.
Just trust it.
Okay, I want to ask this
No.
really quick. This was a comment before. Just a quick question. What if you're wrong about climate change? Because if I'm wrong, then we just bring back manufacturing jobs to the United States. We sell this stuff to other countries. What if we're wrong? What if you're wrong?
If I'm
What's
wrong,
the
then fine.
consequences?
Anything you want
What's
to
the
be. I don't.
what's the no, what are the consequences if you're wrong?
Anything you want it to be. I don't care.
No, the end of human civilization.
We all die.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Inhabitable parts of the planet. The American Southwest abandoned, the Persian Gulf abandoned, food shortages.
So why do people get rich off of oil, though? Tell me that.
Oh my God. All right, bye.
Okay, I don't know what that question is, but
Have a day.
if you are opposition, hop in the box. I'm going to clear it really quick. I do have a panel live going, and I will let some people in as we get some more people in the box to debate. But if you are debating, hop in. I'll even take 2x2 magas. Even
People in
3x3.
queue actually boosts the algorithm having people in your queue.
Oh, I didn't know that. We'll hop back in the queue. If you're debating, though, hop back in really quick. If you just went on the panel, you can go ahead and hop back in. I didn't know that you could have told me that.
Yeah, no,
go
I've
ahead
heard,
and-
I've heard people say that. Hey, sit in queue. They'll have the moderator sit in queue just to boost the numbers on it. Because it shows
All right,
the
Josh,
algorithm
do that.
people want to get in.
Let's see. Let's see.
Let's sit in queue.
Everybody join the queue. I remember who tried to join. We'll just see what happens. But if you're debating, go ahead and hop on in the box. I'd appreciate it. Maybe that was the problem the whole time.
Kicking people out of queue.
Yeah, it might
Look,
be.
4 people already.
Yeah. Now I can't tell who's debating or not. Damn, there's like a ton of people in there. That would actually be wild if that worked out that way. Maybe people could just say that they're debating in the comment section. You can let them in.
All right.
That'd be cool. Oh, all 800
They're
people.
asking
No,
for
then
friends.
nobody can join. Nobody can join then at that point. But if you're opposition, a few of the people that want, or you can take some. Yeah. Not a debate. Not debating. Okay. Numbers are going up. We'll see. Yeah, Sharon's dashing right now, so you guys got anything planned? AJC, appreciate it, by the way, for the kick. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat? AJC with a 25 over on YouTube. Would appreciate it if you guys could give some dubs. If you guys want to support the channel, you can help us hit our gift goal. I have a sub goal over here, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, because I don't think I'm going back to the main, because they just keep flagging everything. I'm too afraid of that count going down, so... But yeah, if you guys want to join in on the panel, you can let us know in the comment section. The mods could let you could move you on in. But I would like to get some debates in here. And Elvis. I need to get Baby K some Legos.
1 second.
He's obsessed. He's back
Put Maga
into
in the
Legos.
chat. Put Maga in the chat if you are debating, and we'll bring you up.
Type
what
Mag
kind-
in the
what-
comments.
Ooh, you getting Legos? Nice.
I need to get him Legos. I need to get him some more Legos. He has some, but I think his mom has more, and she has Disney ones, so he wants to stay over there. I don't know what Disney Legos are, but...
RJ's mad at me because I showed him my biceps the other day. He's all pissed.
Yeah. If anybody wanted to join the panel, by all means, let us know in the comment section. Or if you have a question, let us know. We'll bring you in. We'll see if that helps. I mean, I just like you just ask question after question after question, and they can't answer. You know, just
And
cannot answer.
he's asking other creators the exact same questions.
I know, like he's just not understanding. Stop fucking talking to that guy. Yeah, I mean, it did boost the numbers up, so hopefully we get a debate in here. But yeah, it's not helping anybody.
Josh, were you
Not helping
here when
anyone.
he said like his father or father-in-law, I don't remember which one, lost 20,000 under Biden. And then I asked him, well, how much has he lost under Trump? And he said, well, it's okay. He doesn't mind under Trump losing money.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't like losing money. It doesn't matter who's doing it.
Yep. All right.
They
If
don't
you
like-
were
they don't
MAGA
like-
or want to debate.
So I paid my taxes the other day, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I should have. Like, what are they gonna do? Who's there? Who's gonna bust me on this shit right now, man? Are they even paying attention?
Oh
to
my
this?
God! I didn't tell you.
What?
I know who is gonna bust you. I literally saw a MAGA video where the guy was like, "I'm not filing my taxes this year.
Oh,
Why would I do it?" And he's like, "I was like, why would you say you're not filing? First of all, file your taxes." And then I was like, this is crazy. And the video had like 15,000 likes, and I'm scrolling the comments. And I was actually gonna make a video about this. I was scrolling the comments, there are people like, "Yeah, I haven't filed my taxes in 10 years." I was like, what the fuck?
Jesus. Well, thankfully they
I
don't
was
go
like,
back
I'm over
8.
here like, I'm over here like panicked. I'm panicked that like, is that, did I do that right? I don't want an audit. I'm panicked. And these guys are like, nah, just not filing. Like, what the fuck? Yo, that's
I'm
crazy.
pissed. I went.
Lumberjack sat on here and he brags about it all the time because he's a sovereign citizen. And last I heard, he was like, yeah, I haven't paid my taxes in 8 years. He files,
Why do you?
but he doesn't pay.
So he's just racking up. Oh my God.
He's just racking up debt.
Yep.
Because that's one thing that like there are no debtor prisons except for taxes. Like you can go to prison for taxes.
Yeah,
Or
the
they'll
Obama
just
administration
take your
changed
wages.
it. Yeah, they'll absolutely just take your wages. They just take you to court and then boom, here you go. I imagine they have a significant backlog on them, but yeah, there's a lot of people that they just don't. I didn't know it was that prevalent that it would show up there's that many people. I was like, what the fuck? I'm panicked. I'm like, I'm not messing with that. And they're over here just like la da 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 da. Da, 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 da.
So I'm kind
And
of
then-
pissed.
then
about
you get
the
the
Inflation
interest.
Reduction Act. Yeah,
Then you get the
will fuck
interest.
you.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah, the interest is the first year probably ain't gonna hurt you, but you go 3-4 years, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because then when you pay it off, they make you pay the interest first before you even pay off the principal.
If
Yeah.
you haven't paid in 10 years, I don't know how you'll ever get out from underneath of that. From the interest
I
alone.
know. I was thinking that too. Like, how would you? And the crazy thing, it probably wasn't even that
So-
much. Like if you have like 3,000 a year, or whatever, that's 30 grand plus interest. That's substantial. And most people, it's more. So, and I don't think you can file after a certain time. So it's basically whatever you didn't pay after like 7 years. So you can't even go back and claim deductions or anything. You're just screwed.
Yeah, 7. I'm kind of pissed off about the Inflation Reduction Act. So he put that out to stimulate the economy, right? Like he put a bunch of stuff, especially on like green energy appliances and such. So I, like a fucking idiot, went out and bought green energy appliances. I bought a new stove. I got a new dishwasher. Got a low flow toilet. Like I needed the stuff for the house anyways, right? And I'm like, hey, it's a good opportunity, this infrastructure bill or the Inflation Reduction Act. So I go to claim all that stuff on this year's taxes that I bought last year. None of it qualified. They wanted the big stuff. They wanted the water heaters. They wanted the pump heaters. They wanted like solar system or solar electric systems. They wanted the big items. The little stuff like the dishwasher and the stove and the toilet. They're like, nah, that doesn't count. I was like, fuck. That's one of the reasons why I bought it. I justified buying it because I was going to get a tax rebate on it. And then I didn't get it. So I'm kicking myself because I didn't read enough.
But if it's all low flow and stuff, you should save money on electricity and stuff like that. It's gonna take you a while to get it back, but you got panels put up yet? Are you doing panels?
No, I'm gonna.
No. Oh.
In Florida, if you do solar panels, you get like something back on your taxes. I don't remember how much it is though.
Yeah, they're doing that here too. Like it essentially pays for the solar panels, but you have to pay for the installation. I've had them come out and look. It's $20,000 to install.
Yeah, it's
solar
very
panels.
expensive.
So you're gonna have to get a loan out for the installation as is. That's. So I've got 2 more big projects that I want to do to the house before I'm like completely
I think
done. I want to dig a
5
well
or 6
and get
years.
solar.
5 or
I
6
put it on a
years
10-year
to pay
plan,
back?
and I'm 3 years into it. Oh, for solar? Solar would be
Yeah.
probably 2 or 3 years.
To get back the 20 grand you
Yeah.
put in?
Yeah.
In Seattle,
sure.
it's like 15 years.
If you're paying $300-400 a month on electricity, yeah, 100%, man. Get that back pretty
Oh,
quick.
Seattle's like 15 years to get the cost back, something like that. Or
Really?
it might be 10. Yeah, it's a lot.
It
we
might
have
be closer to
overcast and
3,
stuff.
but yeah, no, it's dude. We get 300 days of sunshine a year.
You know what I don't
We get more than
understand is people like traditional. They hate the EPA, but not understanding that the EPA would be like cut down if we started going towards more renewables. They don't get it. They don't get long-term benefits. All they get is short-term. They don't get mid or long-term benefits.
Yeah, they're
600
not
a
in
month
it
is
for the
wild.
long game. And, yeah.
I do 300 a month, and that's with my electric fence. If I turn the electric fence off, I'll save $80 a month.
Then you'll have
You should,
coyotes.
Yeah,
those
coyotes and
panels, if you get the
javelinas.
panels, you might be paying your, you know what I mean? You might be paying off your electricity bill a month or something like that, or helping it out. But anyway,
Well, they'll sell it back to the electric company too, and I don't want to do that because they'll buy it from me at like 7 cents a kilowatt hour, and then they'll sell it to somebody else for double that. And I'm like, fuck you guys. Sell them my energy. You know, you're using
Take
my.
it.
They're literally extorting my price. So at that point, I own my means of production, which would be my energy. They're extorting me for my energy. They're taking it at a low price and selling it.
I
for
know,
double. I'm not.
but-
Fuck that guy. Fuck
I
that.
know, but you got a better deal there. I don't know. LNG's
Yeah,
about to
go
get really
completely
expensive.
off grid. Go completely off grid.
If you
Detach
guys
from the grid.
could help us get up to, if you guys could help us get up to 100K likes over on TikTok, double tap the screen, comment, interact, help get some people in here. You guys can help out with the gift or sub goal. And that would help us get out to the For You page, get some debates. Also, just type MAGA in the chat or something, you know? That's someone that joined. I don't know. if
Mama
this is gonna
says
be
my
other
electric
pop
bill is $15 a month, plus because I have solar and battery storage.
See?
$15. Damn.
See? Be saving $300 a month.
Damn.
high up front cost.
Somebody said I can give it to other people. I don't know if I can do that. That might be by company, but like if I could, I would rather give it to my neighbor for free than sell it back to somebody at a, who's gonna profit off my stuff.
I'm not that interested. I would just take the money and run. I
Oh,
would just be
that-
like, yeah, whatever.
You guys, also the little orange heart next to Tommy's name up on the upper left, the team heart.
Oh, yeah,
please
send the heart,
tap that, please, because that's actually very good for the FYP to get the live to the FYP. Also the shares, obviously.
Yeah. Help out with the gift goals and stuff. There's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. If you guys are enjoying the Saturday live, would appreciate it. Kathleen, appreciate it for the membership over there on YouTube. Cal's Rule, appreciate it for the 19 months. And Kiki, appreciate the resub with the Prime. Not live all that often on Saturdays and Sundays. I would like it to be a normal thing, but it's just sort of,
I think I might
incidental.
run a lot.
But there will be morning lives coming. There will be morning lives coming next week. But yeah, if you guys want to support it, would appreciate it. Dark, appreciate it for the $2 over there. LOL, I got cursed out by an Israeli because I pissed him off. Well, appreciate it, Dark, for the $2 over there. Yeah, there's going to be a morning show at 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Next week, it's only going to go through Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursday, I'm going to have probably a day live, and then I'll be off for a few days. I'll be doing some lives over on YouTube. So in the link tree in the bio, you guys can go over there, go set your notifications for News Dude on YouTube, and yeah. 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific. So yeah. But if we can get some debates in here, that'd be really awesome.
7 people in queue. I think they're all friendlies. But you know what's cool though? I am 200 people away from 10,000 followers. It'd be really cool to hit 10,000 before this app goes away.
Hey, America.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm just stopping to tell you that we're trying our best up here. We're coming to get you. Our Canadian elections at the end of the month. Keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be apparently building our own military stuff, so that's good. And
Is this
we're
your
doing our
voice or
best.
is this AI?
No, I'm a squeaky ass little Portuguese woman. I'm 47.
Go work at a radio station. Your voice is amazing. Holy shit.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
That's
But thank you.
fantastic.
Too much vocal fry. Yeah.
Is this
But,
what your voice is always like?
Yeah. What do you mean? What are you
Can
talking?
you say, turn left at the light?
Turn off the lights.
Say recalculating. Say recalculating for me. I'll
Recalculating.
literally tip you.
I had a friend in BC who used to be like, I used to say like, Smithers, you're turning me on for my friend. And he had his computer. He had it was when he booted up his computer. He used to say that. But yeah, we got you guys. You're our cousins. You're problematic, but we love you. And why are you? You know, it was distressing to me to find out that you get eggs from China. Like, what the hell? Why are y'all getting eggs from China?
Is that a
I don't know
normal
where we
thing?
get them from.
It's like fucking deeply upsetting. Like,
we
deeply
got
Well, they
It's
just
upsetting.
went
Georgia.
up. Yeah,
You
why don't
know.
you go do audiobooks?
What?
Go do audiobooks. Use your voice talent to narrate
I'm a-
audiobooks.
I'm like an American equivalent paralegal. I'm 47, bro.
Do you know what an audio file
Yeah,
is?
dude. Yeah, they just send you over an audio.
Yeah,
They
I
send you over
know,
a script
I
and you
know.
read it.
What makes you think I'm unemployed?
We're not,
I don't think
You're
you
trying to
are.
give
I
me
just
a
think that you
maybe
should.
what I'm good.
I'm trying to tell you, you should use your talent here.
What's the talent? Talking? What's the
Yes.
talent?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Jaden
So my
uses it to
talent
make a
is sounding
living.
like
Yeah.
a child, but being of age. What a talent. We
I
can
didn't
do it
get
en
that.
français if you
Okay.
want. You want to have French
I
debates?
didn't get that
Let's do
from it.
En
I
français?
didn't get the sounding like a.
no.
Huh?
I just have a squeaky voice.
She
Like
wants to
it's
speak
just.
French.
Un petit
You want to
peu,
do en français?
French.
un petit peu. Je parle français un petit peu.
Yeah, Jaden's a voice actor.
Yeah,
Well,
side job.
I
Je
am friends with the
voudrais
voice
un
of Jubilee from
Pepsi-Cola,
OG X-Men.
s'il vous plaît.
I'm friends with that girl.
Can you say guillotine?
Allison Court. Guillotine. Guillotine. But like Portuguese is my first language. We could do that.
Oh, that's too hard.
No, it's so easy.
I'm just.
No.
Okay,
It's a
I'm going
hard
to teach you the
language.
best Portuguese joke in the world. Okay, so everybody point to a corner and spell apple. Just do it.
Wait, what are we
Spell
doing?
apple. Can Americans spell apple? Spell apple.
We didn't get that far.
A. P. What? What are we
Just spell
spelling
apple.
it?
Just spell.
I smell a
APPLE.
trap, and I don't want to do
No,
it.
no, no. It's a good one. It's a
I
good
know.
one. You can use it on MAGA. You can use it on MAGA.
A
Just spell
P
out.
P L E.
Okay, in Portuguese, you just said I pissed over there.
Oh,
So we used to troll like. you
Got
know,
him.
experience.
dude got
Right?
owned.
So drop me if you want, but I have cousins in Rhode Island. Shout out to Emerald Lagasse. We're from the same island. Bam.
Rhode Island's not a real place.
No, the Azores, buddy. You know, the Portuguese islands.
RJ says he's from
No.
Rhode Island. I don't believe it.
But I have cousins down there in Rhode Island. They showed up one July in Toronto with parkas, fully expecting to see polar bears. And we're like, guys, it's hotter than New York up here in July. But the gun violence in Toronto is really bad because it's really bad right now.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
Okay, sorry about
My
it.
bad.
But
Our bad.
that's okay.
Not my bad. Our bad.
Drake doesn't come south of Bloor. It's a Kendrick town, south of Bloor.
Oh, so you must not have a lot of young people there.
No, we do have a lot. I know Drake is from the suburbs, man.
Yeah, he likes young people.
Yeah, we know that. That's like old standing. I don't mess with Drake. I used to live near Degrassi Street. Come on. Like, I'm a downtown Toronto brat where the Rolling Stones used to hang out with Justin Trudeau's mom. True story. True story. But yeah, I'm just here to cruise on through, say good work, America. I keep the eye on the Substack news. And encourage your followers to listen to NPR's More Perfect, the podcast about your Court of Appeal and why it's so weird.
Are you doing an advertisement right now?
No, I'm
I
telling
swear
you,
to God, she's
I'm
like-
a law dork. I'm a law dork. I could tell you how your Court of
Okay.
Appeal works. I was listening to that like in 2018. 2019. You want to listen to me, Amanda? What do you want to listen to me say?
She works for NPR.
I am
Or
NPR.
you should.
I'm
I
Supergirl
am
Bear's
MC.
mom.
She does the announcements on the radio stations. Today, you listen to NPR.
My first boyfriend was
Wait,
from
hold on.
Texas.
Give us an update on the weather.
Right now, it's overcast, cloudy, and the streets are full of conservatives. It's bad.
Nailed it.
That sounds legit. It sounds legit.
Do you know
You can
how,
have her
how
do weekend
stupid our
news.
conservatives are? They're like stupider than yours because yours hate ours, but they just want to join the club. And so they're conflicted. They're like, I don't know. Scott
Let
Pilgrim
us
is the
in.
problem.
No, don't. But let us in. Don't.
I know.
Yeah, I guess
like
so.
I was like
Canadian-
Maple Magas. You know the regular Magas make fun of you, right? They don't like you.
I seen a Canadian yesterday. He was advertising in his bio. He's an advocate for the 51st state. I was just
Oh my God.
Christ.
Here's a problem with Alberta. They've gotten a free ride. Alberta is like our Texas Florida mashup. It's bad. Because of they're so oil rich, they didn't have a provincial tax, just like Florida, right? So they skated by without contributing anything. And then once they had to pay a bit of money because we were pivoting away from fossil fuels, they're getting all salty. And they want to secede. Like, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go,
I
losers?
think we have a.
Russia?
Debate.
Well, all they have is like the blood of dead, the bones of dead dinosaurs. That's not what I want my son's future to be built on.
It's true.
Hey, dude,
Marina
how are
and
ya?
Gabe. Talking to Gabe, it looks like. What's up, Gabe?
Doing good. I am very happy that I voted for Trump.
Which way's
Why?
the beach, bro?
Well, it's been quite a fun run. So, upon like this, the tariff talks. I mean, even before he got elected, we all kind of knew that would shock the stock market a little bit for the time being. And so,
That's not what he said. That's not what MAGA said. They said if Kamala's elected, we're going to have a 1930s style depression. And that was bad.
yeah, I don't think that we would have a 1930s style depression if Kamala were elected. I mean, I think that we'd probably be on the same trajectory as far as the S&P and
But
Dow Jones.
we were told the stock market, no, we wouldn't. But we were told that the stock market would not collapse under Trump. The stock market would go up.
I mean, I think that long term, yeah, it would. There would provide a lot more returns. I mean, in like a 4 or 5 year, 6 year timeline. But I knew immediately, just personally, and anybody who's in the market, that tariffs would prompt, a pretty quick decline in.
Well, I had been screaming that, but MAGA had been arguing with me about it.
Yeah, you guys are now pretending like this was your goal all along. It's fucking
But
silly.
I do have a question, and that is, should America be held responsible for causing enormous economic instability on a global scale and depriving people in other countries of their retirement funds?
Well, I guess it would be.
Instability.
You'd have to take a look at the timeline on this, right? I mean, if you're intelligent, you shorted the market after you saw
Excuse
the
me.
initial.
If you're going to presume from the start that we're not intelligent, you're already losing.
No, I think I was just making a generalization, like as an opener for
That's
my
not what we
statement.
want
I'm
to do
not.
when we have a fruitful conversation, right?
I'll be right back in 1 second. Again, if you guys want to support the channel, there's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Doing a Saturday Live, so if you want to support, would appreciate it. We'll be right back.
So folks that are actively in the market and have been for a little while,
Such as myself.
right, knew that there was going to be initial pullback. So we put in our short positions. And then we also invested in construction lending because we knew that construction would come back for like
The
big mega
ability to
projects.
short should be illegal. That's not fair trading.
You don't think it's fair to,
I don't think it's fair at all. No, I think it's unethical.
you think that it's unethical to
It's
profit
absolutely
off of
unethical.
it? I guess, how is it unethical? I don't,
Because you're taking sports gambling to people's lives.
no, it's just an asset that's undervalued at the moment that
No,
we're profiting off
that
of.
is, well, why don't we talk about electronic?
It's also how you hold
the
companies
games.
accountable,
Like, people
because
have been pulling this shit. It's what got you into the 2008 crisis, and now you're trying to pull some. Have you seen what Japan said in their legislature about your president?
Are you talking about like mortgage swaps that happened in 2008 and
Of course, this is the same thing on a more global scale. I'm 47, bro.
right? But how does that translate to shorting?
Why should your president be allowed to manipulate global markets? This is not an America-centric problem. Your president is manipulating global markets, and people are going to go hungry. So if you don't think your country should be held responsible in the criminal court for its actions, then you're wrong.
I appreciate that perspective, but there's
No, you
also a way. Yeah, I do. I appreciate what you
You live
said.
an insulated life, and that is a privilege.
I thought we
Hey,
weren't.
man, I was just wondering. You said if people were smart enough, they would pull back on it, or they would see the pullback coming and short the stocks. Do everyday American citizens with 401ks, do they have the ability to short stocks like that?
If they have a 401k through Fidelity or through any other large institution through their employer, yeah, I mean they can go into like large funds that short the S&P and the Dow Jones for sure.
So
You think
do
that's
regular
what
working
people-
class
okay,
people have the time to
okay.
manipulate markets?
I was
Like-
literally in the
Well-
middle of talking.
Yeah, I mean there's a different way to look at this. I mean, yes, the initial pullback does also offer opportunity for the folks that are, young folks and folks that are just getting into the markets to take really good positions.
Incorrect.
You don't think that a decline
You
in the
need
stock's
a
value
base level of financial literacy and access to things like trading apps, and you need to be like, you need the privilege and socioeconomic class to participate in the market. There's a barrier to entry for one. You guys don't have basic reading literacy in the US for two. And so you're making single-handed decisions for a populace that you have basically been prejudicial against for years. It's unfair.
Okay, so assuming that I adopt your worldview and your stance on that,
You mean geopolitical stance instead of America-centric? Yeah.
sure, on a geopolitical stance, when the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones go down abruptly,
And what about the TSX? And what about the Nikkei?
yeah, I mean, a lot of these companies heavily depend on
We're not
consumers in
talking companies,
America.
we're talking markets.
Right, markets that are derived of a conglomerate of companies that depend heavily on America. So the S&P and the Dow Jones affects
That's
those markets
shifting.
as
America's time is over.
well. Okay, I get it. What I'm saying is when the
You're presuming that regular people have the
Patch, I just saw this.
interest in the markets at large that you do.
okay,
and that
assuming
is
they don't,
unfair.
assuming they don't, when
They
the
do
stock,
not.
okay,
They
they
don't.
don't
There's
then,
no
and I'll agree
incentive.
with you that they don't. I would say that the majority of Americans
So
do
why
not have a
do you
strong.
guys, you tech bros,
I'm
get to
trying to
call the
answer.
shots for an entire nation?
I am trying to answer you.
You don't have an answer.
Yes, I do. You just won't let
Sorry,
me answer you.
someone's tapping on something. Sorry.
When the stock market goes down, usually, and it happens in a aggressive manner, it prompts treasury bonds to go up. Now, when treasury bonds go up, it brings down the rates, mortgage rates for homes.
How does
No.
that help regular Americans afford eggs?
No, that's not. You're talking about treasury bonds versus the Fed, right? The Fed rate.
Look at the macro, my friend.
Yes, on the macro data, when there is an abrupt decline in the Dow Jones and the S&P,
How does that help
The
feed
money-
people?
I'm getting there. Hey, I'm getting
Land the
there.
plane, bro.
Yes, I will. So
By the
from
way, interest rates, I'll let you finish here in a second. Interest rates went up on treasury bonds, by the way.
And how's the price of gas doing?
Wait, let's not gish gallop. Let's let him finish.
Okay, thank you. And so what we've seen is that the increase in the Treasury outweighs the intermediate decline on the S&P and the Dow Jones. And so usually, historically, what happens is that not only does it offer better entry points for people that are new to the market, but it also lowers the cost of housing in the rates that, like, first time home buyer rates, so that you can get a home.
And where are these homes going to come from?
Well, there's plenty of inventory. That's why we're
Really?
yes, there's an influx in inventory, and that's why there's like a mini housing
I didn't
collapse.
know about that.
Yes, there's a big, large influx of inventory
gonna
because
have to
the
Google
investors
that. And provide some hard numbers.
Well, the hard numbers would be investors during COVID went out and bought swaths and swaths of homes.
Okay.
Then when
And now
rates,
they're in trouble.
yes, which has prompted more inventory.
You're going to bankrupt some of your citizenry in order to benefit others. And you're going to meddle in the markets to the extent that it becomes like a false narrative in the markets that inevitably bursts.
Right. So by raising those tariffs, there has been
Tariffs
a
are a
lot
joke, right?
I think that tariffs are a joke?
You're an absolute joke. You're the laughing stock of the world. Like, how does that feel?
I really appreciate that perspective. I'm just saying
It's true.
that all countries impose tariffs on other countries.
Yeah, but what you're doing is you're paying the prices right with the global economic infrastructure.
Well, I mean, it's supply and demand. We have the largest
It's
consumer.
not supply and demand. You have the largest base of consumers only. That's all.
Right.
So Gabe,
yeah.
what is your argument on the housing market? Because what Trump's doing in a vacuum without economic issue would cause the interest rate to go up.
No, it would go down. So historically, once the Treasury yield goes up.
So,
Okay.
well, if we have, right, inflation caused by tariffs, you would have to respond by slowing the economy down. But also, you're in a position where you're not growing because of tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you would consider inflation. I mean, if the argument is that we have to pay more for goods that come to the United States, it would increase the cost of those goods, then I guess you're right. Yes, I guess there would be inflation when it comes to our sneakers and when it comes to clothes and when it comes to everything that we order from China. But in retrospect, what it has also prompted, just from personal experience, there's 2 EV battery plants that were due to break ground in Canada in just the last 3 months that are now moving to the United States. And then you have some car manufacturers that are coming to.
Hold on, I gotta stop you right there. Do you know why they're moving to the United States?
Yes, to evade tariffs.
No. It's because Ontario ripped up the inked contract. It's because we tore it up. We don't want it anymore.
Right. I'm just giving you examples of.
No, I'm telling you that that's
projects
not a win for you. It's a rejection from us, and you're characterizing it as a win.
Well, it's a win.
You see the false narrative you're writing for yourself? It's a false narrative.
I don't know if it's a narrative or perspective. I mean,
No,
if
it's
it
a
brings
narrative because you can't get your nose out of your own bum. Like, you can't. You need to look at, like, there are children who are hungry in other nations too. Okay, and you're not addressing your own. You're too busy falsely manipulating the markets. And please tell me how Bitcoin is going to help you. Because I know quite a bit about it. I got on the internet in '93, so we can have a real discussion about it.
Yeah, I don't know how Bitcoin is going to play or fall into.
What your president is doing is trying to make a financial standard out of an instrument that is no more based on any standard than Visa or MasterCard.
So again, when running a nation, you only have certain
What do you know
tools.
about running a nation? For real, bro.
I would
Hold
say
on, let's let him finish. Go ahead.
I would say based on historical data and historical data that we have on tariffs and when other countries have imposed tariffs and when there's levies and when there's embargoes and when there's, based on that data, you only have a certain amount of tools that you can use to either manipulate the current state back home or manipulate your interests overseas. And so
What if you invested in making, like, you know, after this, the was it the first war, the, like, was it Eisenhower or whatever, who, like, built roads and, like, provided things for Americans to do so they could earn an income and feed their families. Like, how about you build some egg farms? How about you build some pork manufacturing that doesn't dirty up the environment?
yeah, yes, I agree with what you're saying. I think the methodology to create those jobs and to
The way to
create,
start by manipulating the market?
if it prompts, I mean,
does
this is
not.
just, if it prompts,
It's like building a house without a foundation.
Jennifer, please let him finish.
Yeah, let's let him finish.
I appreciate that. So if it does prompt more jobs in the United States, and it does prompt, so that's everything from construction to the facilities management to data center construction to manufacturing facilities, processing plants, oil and gas production, the means to which you're providing these jobs may not be the best way to do it in your eyes and from your perspective, but it's working.
Amigo, how long does it take to build these things?
It can take anywhere between 18 to 24 months on some of these large projects.
That is not going to happen in America. Speaking as the daughter of a Portuguese construction dad, you're looking at about 5 years of intense suffering for your lowest classes to get to the jobs that you hope will be there.
Well, the construction jobs will open up immediately, and it does take 18 to 24 months.
But we don't have the
600
workers.
megawatt. Yeah, I mean that's another argument in itself. I mean, I would suspect I would suspect that in places like Pennsylvania, where like the steel factories left and the coal mines left, and all of the people who were doing fracking that kind of took a small pullback, I'm sure there's enough people that would want to work these jobs.
Do you think you can press a fast rewind and go and fix regular problems? That's not how it works. We're not dealing with Marty McFly here. We can't go back to the future.
Really quick, if there's some shout outs here. Patch, I just saw this. Appreciate the 20. Happy Easter for Baby K. Patch, appreciate it. Thank you. Could we get some dubs and drumsticks for Patch? Patch as always. Norma, appreciate the 10 over there. Thank you, Norma. Could we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for Norma? Thank you. Appreciate it. Dennis, appreciate it as well. DJ, appreciate it. This is cool. I prefer the morning lives when I'm more coherent. Appreciate it for the 5 over on YouTube. Dennis had something. Dennis, appreciate the 2. Thank you. Appreciate it. Dubs and drumsticks in the chat for them would appreciate it. Sorry, go ahead. So I think the problem is that you're saying that these companies would rather, they're going to move manufacturing plants to the United States and they're going to build all of these manufacturing plants. By the way, you don't have enough plant logistics. Who?
Well, there's, if you look up the permit requests for data center construction, manufacturing, energy requests, access to power, water, it's up like 600%.
Data center is not something that we would put overseas anyways.
No, I understand that. I'm just the construction industry as a whole.
But you're the problem is you're talking about, okay, you have a permit request, then you have to have it inspected, you have to have it gone over. It takes time, it takes money, et cetera, et cetera. It takes years to break ground, and when you finally do, then you have to find the workers. We have a worker shortage because Trump is targeting migrants, but also we had one before. So you can say, well, it could bring back jobs in Pennsylvania, but if you're a state that's not getting any of the manufacturing jobs coming back, you're going to be pretty irritated. So the question then becomes, where do you find these workers without stealing them from the retail economy that keeps us afloat? You can't be, what are you going to pay to move people across the country so that they can do work on these sites?
Well, people would move for opportunity. But as far as like the footprint, I mean, yeah, I think that different regions will see more of these like I think Siemens just announced that they're going to be moving, they're going to open like 6 manufacturing facilities here. There's a A company.
Okay, hold the phone here. So, coming from a background in law and like the policy and insurance litigation in Toronto, and I do cross border stuff too. So, I'm going to tell you that the request for proposal and permit process gives you like about a 2 year lead time before shovels are in the ground.
In the current state, yeah. So the second part of this equation is to facilitate bringing all of these.
And why would you do that without conducting environmental studies?
Well, that's the thing. So Republicans tend to not care about the. Go ahead.
It's not just environmental studies. You also have to do studies on the ground, the actual soil where you're building. You have to acquire the land. You have to, acquire the materials, which are also going to be going up in price. I mean, you're talking about investing a ton of money into the United States when even with tariffs, it would be cheaper and more sustainable for you to just apply the cost to your customer and continue to move it in from overseas. I mean,
Right,
we've seen
so-
instances of companies. Jack Daniels, they moved their barrel facility overseas completely in response to Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, I agree that there is some in the current state. It is very difficult to, in a steadfast manner, to break ground. But through some executive orders and some influence, and through some legislation, there's an Intel competitor. I think it's like TSFW. I don't know. They make semiconductor chips.
And how are you going to make those
TSMC.
chipsets without minerals?
TSMC.
Yeah, TSMC is moving to the United
Not
States.
manufacture chipsets without minerals, and that's what you want. You want the Canadian shield, and you're not going to get it.
Well, we can just take it from Africa, but
Oh, okay. That's the American. See, here's the problem, right? We'll just take it from here. We'll just take it from there. You guys are having a war with penguins. Okay.
I can understand how that might seem.
Manifest destiny is what it's called.
Right. But anyway, and I understand how that might be a brutal thing to say. We'll just find the minerals from somewhere else and we'll take advantage of their current systems and their
Why
own
don't you dig
corruption
into your
model.
own Appalachian mountains?
I don't think that we want to use them yet.
Exactly, because you want to protect your stuff at the cost of the other countries in the world, and we're sick of it.
That's
and
correct.
we're sick of you.
But that's what every nation does.
No,
This
it's
is how
not.
it works.
No, it's not. So let me tell you that during COVID, Canada realized that we have had a problem in the manufacture. We weren't able to manufacture the amount of vaccines for our populace that we needed. So, we built facilities to make vaccines in the country, and now we can do that.
I understand, but at the same time, right, when you look at
No,
that's
not
a
at the
great way
same
to.
time. Defend the position. Don't pivot.
I am defending the position.
You're pivoting.
I'm saying that all nations do the same things that America does,
No, they
whether they
don't.
have good PR or
Not
not,
on the
because
scale. Not
you
on
have
the
gone
scale.
through every single war. You have gone through every single war with the United
Josh.
States. You've bombed the same amount of
That's
children.
not-
You've
that's
killed the
not-
same amount of
that's not
civilians.
true.
You've been deployed
Did
everywhere
we go to Vietnam?
have.
We did
You're-
not. We batted cleanup for you. As
Hey,
we
Yeah,
did
well, you're
that.
shooting.
Betsy.
You're shooting kids alongside our guys in Yemen. So it's just telling you, like, there's a dark side and a bright side to every nation. It's just the way that it goes.
We're
If
tired
I'm
of cleaning
arguing,
up your messes with our Zambonis. We're not doing it anymore.
you've
Hey,
been
Betsy,
deployed to every.
appreciate you coming in. Hold on, I have
Got me,
Jen that's going to hop in here, but I appreciate
Yeah,
you
yeah,
for coming
got
in.
me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
and
me. It's
again,
fun.
go read some audiobooks. Go do some audiobooks. Telling you.
I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
All right, take
Bye.
care.
My apologies. So-
Josh said we
If there's
have.
a tariff on
Josh
that,
said
though.
we got one. Josh said we got one debate and we exported to Canada. DJ, appreciate it. If you guys want to support these Saturday lives, there is a Venmo Cash App in the bio. You can support by subbing, or I'm gonna get the lower tier on this one because I think we're gonna have to move over here. But you guys can sub. I don't think I go live on the main account anymore. I think I'll jump it in the box, but it's. And we've talked about it for a while. If you guys want to support, you can send coins over here. There's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Go join the Patreon. You can sub on YouTube, where you can watch the playbacks in tier 2, or Patreon, you can watch the playbacks. This one is not one of the night lives. This one's going to stay live, but if you guys want to support, would appreciate it. And Patch, appreciate it. Thank you. It's Easter. I still have to go get Baby Case and stuff. I was trying to figure out when he was going to be here so I could run out of the store and get him something. So,
Are you going to do
anyway,
that now?
sorry, Gabe, go ahead. No, not
All right,
this
so-
second.
I believe that there are very strong data-driven arguments for both perspectives on the tariff economy. And from what I've gathered through either personal experience or just an unemotional view of what's going on, I believe that the plan is working. And it's going to depend on what America looks like in 4 years, if anybody ever votes Republican ever again. Because this is a very big risk. This is is sends shockwaves throughout financial markets and the way that people perceive America. And Trump's really not the best communicator. But nevertheless, I mean, this is going to be make or break it for the Republicans. If manufacturing jobs do come back to the United States and we produce more here, and it bolsters farming because we'll tax Mexico, X amount for avocados and other produce, and it's all hunky dory, and the way that it's been pitched to us, then okay, fantastic. But if everything goes to shit,
do you have any historical reference?
yeah, I think if you look at, I think it's a quote from Hillary. No, Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was like in the. She actually looked pretty decent back when she was in her mid-30s, but she proposed reciprocal tariffs, and it looked like the House was behind her. But as far as historically in America, I mean, the last time the last time that we imposed tariffs to this degree, our GDP like almost tripled. I think that was back in like. We're talking 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah, when manufacturing was big,
We
but
didn't
don't need to
have tariffs like
manufacture
that.
those things.
I think manufacturing's still big. I think the balance is like.
It's not though. Like the manufacturing we had in the 1950s is not the manufacturing that we need in 2025. We don't need to produce plastic cups and ingots for shoelaces, right? Those can be produced by other countries. We need to focus on technology here. Like, I agree we need manufacturing, but we don't need to manufacture silly plastic pieces of shit, right? We can manufacture technology. We can manufacture energy. We can export our energy technology and help other countries build up their infrastructures with our technology. That's the things that we need to focus on. We don't need to focus on piddly fart shit.
Yeah,
we can leave that to other countries.
I agree. So if we bring all of that on a global scale back to the U.S., I mean, we'll be in pretty good shape.
What are you talking about? We're doing that here. Like one of our major cash cows is technology.
That was literally the Chips and Science Act.
Yeah.
Right,
agree.
but
we have a
Don't
I'm saying I
dominance
want.
in that.
I'm saying I want NVIDIA completely here. I want every phone manufacturer, like I want Apple all done here. I want.
You realize that's going
That- I
to
mean-
increase the cost, correct?
You are not going to get Japan. You're not going to get South Korea. You're not ever going to get them over here.
I think with the right, well, of course not. I mean, those are Korean companies. But if we raise the tariffs enough on South Korea and Samsung, to where they cost the same if Apple's made here, then God bless America.
Wait, hold on. You do realize that that's not going to happen. iPhones with a tariff are cheaper than if we made iPhones here.
Right. So what I'm saying is, whatever the cost is to make it here, let's say that now to keep their same margins, Apple has to sell the phone at $2,800. Then all we have to do is increase the tariffs on South Korea so that their phone's $2,800.
Brilliant.
Why would
Everybody
we want?
suffers.
Why
Well,
would
realize how
we
many phones are
want?
purchased
So
in South Korea versus
yeah.
here. The consumer market
So
is
here's
never
the other
balanced.
Yeah,
Well,
the
it
other
looks
thing that
like
you're not
tariffs almost
factoring in, the hold on, the other thing that you're not factoring in this equation is the cost to build TSMC or China's the logistic facilities, the manufacturing facilities that South Korea has. You're talking about tens of billions. More than that, TSMC to build in the United States, like 1-to-1, would be $200 billion or more. That's what you're talking about. And you're talking about an insane increased cost on the consumer for seemingly no reason other than you want to bring it here, even though we manufacture in the United States and we have tech in the United States. Why do we need to go back? Why do we need? So this is the problem with Mega, is that every so often we have a new boom, right? We had the internet boom through the 2000s, kept our economy booming. We had the shale rock boom that started a few years ago, and these things propel us. And we've had the tech boom, obviously, And you guys are saying we shouldn't embrace these things. Instead, we should turn around and go backwards to manufacturing plastic cups at an insane expensive rate, even though it would be detrimental to our economy. And it would be detrimental to the type of economy we have, because we have a retail economy. We have a consumer-driven economy. And if we don't have people buying stuff, then manufacturing it doesn't make any sense.
Right. So there's two things that happen here, and I agree with you. In the event that it raises the cost of items to where Americans can't afford them, arguably, that would mean that we are cutting into corporations' margins so that they can sell their products. And so if everything is made here and there's a benefit to make it here, and their margins have to be decreased so that people can buy them, then isn't that good for everybody? Because these corporations are,
That means
now
you're
you're telling
willing to
corporations
increase
what to
wages,
do.
correct?
we're not telling them what to do. We're forcing them. We're moving markets
okay.
to force them.
So you're forcing them what to do. What's the difference?
All of a sudden, he's anti-capitalist. He's
No, but
using leftist.
I know, I don't understand.
No. I'm
Took a
trying
while.
to.
Maybe-
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect with you on
What
that.
is your...
If corporations make
So
less-
why... Yeah, so
not how we
it's not
affect
really
corporations.
landing though. So if your concern is people are not getting paid enough, why are we not raising the minimum wage? Why are you guys so against raising the minimum wage? If that's what it takes to help American citizens out, why not do it?
Because raising the minimum wage doesn't change economies on a macro scale. It's just providing more money to give to the corporations. I don't
Where
think
are you
that's-
Want everybody to,
where you-
to spend $20
where are you
for
getting
one
that
plastic
from?
cup, you're gonna have to raise their wages.
Well, if we're trying to put pressure on corporations and these immense margins that they have, if all we do is raise the minimum wage to give more money to feed the margins of these corporations, doesn't that defeat the purpose? If we're trying to give power back
No.
to people?
No,
Defeat
we
the
cap their
margins of
profits and we give the excess of it to the workers.
You're literally saying raise prices, but don't raise, don't
Wages.
wages so that people can pay those high prices.
Yeah,
pretzel
he's
is
saying
wild.
don't. Yeah, so he's saying don't raise the minimum wage, raise tariffs. That'll raise prices, but we can't do a minimum wage because that'll raise prices.
So globally, everything costs more money, which is inflationary. It's just inflation.
But it only costs more money if they don't decrease their margins on what they're selling.
Then
You don't
we
make
should
any sense.
target them for doing
I
that.
don't think he understands what he's talking about at all.
Right, but the way that we can
He
target
wants
that.
to go. You want to go
Like-
around the circle to target them instead of just fucking targeting them.
You can't
Right,
put
it's like
caps
you want to
on-
be
on-
like, we're going to put tariffs, right, because we're going to put tariffs on the consumer
Well, I
so
can
that
tell
they
you
have
why.
to pay it.
If you put caps on margins from an institutional level, then it stunts innovation and it stunts competition.
Nope, it doesn't.
You can't.
Based on what?
That's never been
based
proven.
based
Like,
on
you guys
what?
say
Based on
that.
what? That's not true at all. Look at McDonald's. They have half of everything that they make is profit. Can you tell me the last new item that they put on their menu?
What is the?
So
how does that
very
relate?
clearly, excessive profit does not spark innovation.
I don't know. Pizza Hut comes out with a new pizza twice a week.
That's true.
No, I guess what
They
I'm
make
trying to
that
say
kind of
is
profit.
Yeah, hold on. Can you
Shamrock
name
Shakes from the
another-
90s.
So, Gabe, can you name another country in the Western world that is modeling itself like this, that's successful? Like, is Germany doing this?
Yeah, but Germany's like maybe Texas. Like it doesn't even. I wouldn't even compare Germany to the United States. I mean, I compare China
not-
to the
I'm
United
not-
States.
I'm just
China
saying-
has adopted this model.
No, I said Western world. Keep up.
China is definitely
hasn't adopted this
exhibiting
model.
Western.
China hasn't
Yeah.
adopted this model.
That
China's
should
model
tell
is
you
very
something.
different.
China is more Western than the United States has ever been in its current state.
They are
Okay.
Western in their economy, but they're not.
More Western.
Hey,
than
Brooke,
that.
appreciate the 10 for Happy Easter, Baby K. Brooke, appreciate it. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for Brooke? Brooke, appreciate it.
China has
Thank
some
you.
of the most socialized corporations there are. Like they're not actually socialist.
They
corporations,
subsidize
but
for
they-
people.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah, I
can't
mean,
we just do fair prices and fair wages? What's wrong with that instead of all the pretzeling?
but what
Well,
dictate
rich people want to get
Right.
rich off that.
what dictates what the minimum wage should be? Should it be the markets or a piece of legislation?
Standard of living, the cost of living.
This should be
maybe?
legislation.
Yeah.
I guess that's
Why
one.
would it not be legislation?
Legislation puts it in place, but it's factored into what the cost of living is.
I guess the argument here, and maybe it's a skewed view, right? I'm just giving you the other side's perspective on it. If a place doesn't pay me enough to survive and want to work there, why would I work there?
That's how America's modeled.
So fucking privileged.
That's how America's modeled. It's exactly how America's modeled.
Places to even barely pay their bills. And
50
just because
Yeah, 50 million people make less than $15 an hour. And the question is always, why can't the other people find a better job? Why can't businesses find a better business model?
Okay, so if you raise the minimum wage, okay, blanketed, what's the number?
It would probably be something aerial. But the number
Like,
would be
it'd be a
above
federal, but
it would have to be above 25.
And would it be based off of the current standard of living at a localized perspective, right? So like maybe New York City has a higher minimum wage than, let's say,
Yes.
West Virginia.
Yeah,
Yes,
it would.
that would be necessary.
Okay.
It would. You would also have to do and make steps where, corporations couldn't be renting places out. Like you would have to do rent control. Let's be real. You would, and part of this too is that getting rid of healthcare costs, getting rid of childcare costs would spark the shit out of the economy. And I don't know why the Republicans don't see it. If you took and you gave universal childcare to everybody in America, the amount of people that would free up for our labor shortage would be insane. An insane amount of people would be freed up, or to go out and innovate, to go out and start their own business.
Even better, let's just let's make it really, really easy to unionize. Let's
Okay.
unionize everything from renters, from literal tenant unions to work unions. I mean everything.
Okay. So let's say minimum wage goes up to $30 an hour, and then you put a cap on corporations' margins so that they don't increase costs because their labor costs more. Then you have a perfect economy with subsidized healthcare and childcare.
we can let people import things from other places that do this stuff better, not have to build these insane factories and charge $4,000 for an iPhone.
I can't wait till the new products from China start coming in.
They're much better. They're much better because they're
Yeah,
made.
because they're doing away. They're like, fuck your intellectual property laws. We're just going ahead and doing everything that you do, but better and cheaper. And it's going to start flooding our market like crazy.
I think China's economy has scaled a lot faster than the United States could ever under their system. But a lot of it depends.
Communism?
Well, their economy isn't very communist if you really take a look at it. It's very, very, very
They're shifted to it. They're on a 100-year plan
hyper-capitalism.
to increase they're on a 100-year plan to go into communism, and they're 50 years into that plan. I think they're doing all right.
So the foundation of this communist perspective that might happen was off the back of extreme capitalism, where kids were sewing together Nikes. So I can't call them communist.
No, that's literally what Marx said was going to have
That's
to
what
happen.
it is.
That's literally
He
what
says
Marx said was going to have to happen.
They
You guys
utilize
don't care about
capitalism
capitalism.
to integrate into a socialist system and then transition into communism after that. That's
Yeah.
the great leap forward. That's their plan. That's
It
their
was-
100-year plan.
You do know that China has child labor laws, very strict ones, by the way.
Now, I'm just saying, like it was just
they have. Nope, they have. And please don't tell us that you care about child labor all of a sudden, especially when Florida, the state I'm in, is rolling back child labor laws
to what age?
to 14. And if you're sick now, they have already taken away. So hold on one
So
second.
if you're
So,
14
hold on
years
one second.
old, you
Gabe,
can't
let me
after high
finish.
school go and cashier?
Gabe, let me finish. So 16 years old, it used to be that the company that the kid worked for, so let's say Burger King, they were required to give one meal to that 16-year-old child. Don't forget, these are children. Now DeSantis is like, yeah, no, you guys don't have to do that anymore. So maybe that one meal was the only meal that that kid was having that day because he's putting all his money to car insurance so he can get to that job. A 16-year-old.
Okay, well, we're in Florida. You can bike, you can bus. I mean, what do you? I mean, you can't fix the entire world because.
How is that a fix? We had it in place. Undoing it, now we have to solve the problem.
So
The
if they
point is,
didn't
we
take
have child
one-
labor in America. That's the point.
You don't think it's fair for a 14-year-old to go cashier at Walgreens when they get off of high
No,
school?
I think that's great.
No.
I think that's absolutely great for a child to learn job skills like that. But they also need protection so that corporations don't take advantage of children and make them work later than 9 o'clock, so that way they can't get up and go to school in the morning. These are the regulations that we think that are needed to
Yeah.
prevent exploitation of children.
We're not
Do you think that's a good idea?
I think
Not to
yes,
exploit
I think
children?
I think it's a fantastic idea to not exploit
Cool.
children. Of course.
So, yeah, the problem that we're having with what Republicans are doing is not that 14-year-olds are working, is that they're removing protections and they're removing prohibitions on them working in what's considered hazardous industries. So things that could get them harmed. I don't think 14-year-olds should be working in that. If 14-year-old wants to go and work part-time somewhere as a cashier or whatever, I'm totally fine with that. I think most people are. I generally think that they shouldn't be forced into doing it. It shouldn't be a condition of them existing in America because they lost both their parents or whatever. But yeah, if a kid wants to go do that, that's totally fine. But that's not a substitution for school, and that certainly is not similar remotely to them going and working at a factory farm until midnight.
I agree, but why should a 14-year-old have to work in the first place in any aptitude? I mean, is it because corporations know that they can pay those laborers less money?
No, you do know that, and this is for Florida. I don't know if you're in Florida.
I'm in Tampa, yeah.
Cool. You know, most of that child labor is agriculture, right?
Right. So what I'm saying is, if the reason that they want kids to work is because they can pay them less, I mean, why else would they want to open up the floodgates for kids to work?
Well, Paige, doesn't
right.
this
They
kind of
wanna
correlate
exploit
to DeSantis's rules about migrant labor and having less migrant labor? Isn't that related?
Yeah, that bit him in the ass, though. In 2023, we lost $11.8 billion, $12.8 billion when he scared off undocumented workers.
So
should
what
know
he's
that
trying to do
because-
is fill in that missing labor with children because he screwed over other
To be
parts
fair,
of the workforce.
I worked in cornfields when I was 13. I was detasseling corn. It was hard work, but it was something I did over the summer. I wasn't missing school for it.
Yeah,
That's the point.
I had a brother who worked in a dairy farm at 15, but that's because, like, my parents were divorced and we needed food on the table, and it took everybody to do that. And there are a lot of children like that. Children shouldn't be put in that position.
Okay, so would perfect world be minimum wage based off of the standard of living on a localized basis, whether it's $20 to $30 an hour?
No.
Provisions and securities for people under the age of 18 and where they choose to work. Socialized medicine, childcare, and everything else. And then caps on the margins that you can make as a corporation. Easier and steadfast immigration into the country, right? An actual path to citizenship where you can take on migrants and don't exploit them because they're illegal and pay them less, but give them an actual path to citizenship at a high clip. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I don't want to just do the minimum wage thing. I literally want the workers, the people who are making the products, to have the profit from the profits that they're making and decide where those profits go.
So profit
that
share,
Yeah, I
giving out
want-
shares to the giving out shares, ownership to the laborers.
To be honest with you, I don't think that the board of directors should be picked by shareholders. I think that screws the workers. But if we were to ask for what marginal changes we could make in the interim, I would say that a certain amount of profit for any company has to be dictated to go back to the workers' pension plans.
Okay. And who's in charge of establishing all these guidelines?
We have government agencies that already do something very similar, it's just not to the extent.
Okay. And at what percentage of that income, right? However that's generated, all of that, let's say all that comes true. What percentage of your income that you generate, even with the higher hourly wage, even with all of the benefits that are awarded to you, and all of the socialized systems and all the provisions of care, how much percentage of your paycheck do you keep?
We would have to figure that out when we get there, man.
I don't know. I don't. That's a question. I don't know. But if you're going to be getting paid more, see,
You
the
know
problem
what's
is that
funny?
you're
Business
thinking
would
like
be
these
set up
things are
differently.
costs, right? In life, these things are costs that you're going to have: food, childcare, health care, etc., insurance down the list, right? And the idea is to remove those burdens that we could collectivize and that would be more beneficial to society as a whole. So, for instance, childcare is a really good example of this. If we were to collectivize this, it would be cheaper, significantly cheaper than people having to pay what is $12,000 a year out of pocket or get a nanny, which is even more, right? Because they have more kids. If we collectivize that, okay, it would create jobs in the childcare industry. We could set up standards of care. We could set up regulations so that we could ensure the safety of children, and the list goes on. We already do something very similar to that. That would take those people that otherwise cannot afford to get childcare for their kids and put their kids into childcare, where they can now go out into the economy and work because we need more workers.
Yes. So I believe that this model, right, is a far left leaning on every side of the spectrum. And I feel that that it will help the immensely poor. And that's it.
It won't just help the immensely poor. It helps middle class.
Yes, but if I don't have the freedom to dictate who I choose my insurance
You're not
with,
listening. You didn't listen. It's increasing productivity. Do you know how many people in like let's say dinks or not dinks?
Barely
so
left.
You have two people. Do you know how many? And it's usually women have to quit their job because it's cheaper than paying for childcare.
I
That's one less
understand that.
person out there working, and production is less.
I understand that, but if you capped how much margins I can make as a business owner, and you have a minimum wage that's required by a localized region, and they're already getting taxed on those increases in pay and on those benefits to provide all of these securities that they currently don't have in their current state, because this is the impoverished community in the United States, which is a large community.
That has been
why would I-
impoverished by those same major corporations that you don't want to charge taxes for. Let's just be clear on that.
And can this be applied to small businesses like mom and pop stores?
It would have to.
Well, I just want to point out, incidentally enough, that when we're talking about medium, small-sized businesses, a lot of them pay living wages. A lot of them pay living wages. It's corporations that don't. So
Right.
you're not saying that we should target, there's 50 million jobs that pay less than $15 an hour. You're saying that we should, not target them, even though they've been screwing people over to make more money?
No, I'm just saying that on the current model that you're talking about, it does help out the immensely poor.
Yeah,
But
it's
that's it.
yes, it's supposed to. There's no doubt about that. It's not going to help you out if you're a billionaire, and it shouldn't.
Well, it won't. It will also maybe, okay, because I'm thinking that only corporations would have the working capital to sustain and stay in business with all of this that's occurring, right? Even after lowering margins, after increasing the minimum wage, after providing decent healthcare, all that, and being able to pay these guys that after they get taxed, they still have enough money for food and for.
I don't think that's the
Netflix.
case. I think that they're the only people in America that have the money to do that now because they've rigged the system. So in a normal economy, 50 years ago, if we proposed these, which by the way, a lot of these were proposed, and a minimum wage was higher, as well as tax rates on them were higher, we did the best we've ever done as a country. So you're saying that like now that these corporations are going to be the ones that have to sustain it, yeah, because they're the ones that have monopolized the system.
They benefited from it this whole time.
They created the system, of course. They're going to have to pay more.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there at one point the marginal tax rate was much, much higher for corporations? So if they weren't reinvesting back into their employees, into their business that way for things like pensions, healthcare, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it was better.
Yeah, they were
You're right.
charged at 90%.
Yeah,
It was better.
so the tax rate was a lot. So we were doing this before, and something changed where we decided to start licking the
Ronald Reagan
boots of
changed.
corporations,
Well, I
and
mean,
everyone else is getting screwed.
yeah, I mean, so there's two things. One, could we have kept the 90% rate? Yeah, we definitely could have. And we would have done just fine as a country. The thought process behind it was our GDP skyrocketed after the collapse of the Soviet Union. So around that time, like financial institutions, money, whatever, they're monopolizing more of the world, so there doesn't need to be as high of taxes. But yes, it shouldn't have dropped to fucking whatever it was, 27% or some shit. It needs to go up. Like, I don't doubt to that. Do we need 90%? I don't really think so to cover everything. I don't think we need 90% because there's so much more money in America now. But it should be higher. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm pushing for is that there has to be a balance in this system, and it's got to be put together correctly, because at a certain extent, right, if corporations falter under this plan and become smaller and less powerful, fantastic, because that'll open up for small business and thus open up opportunity for the up and comer and for those who want to create competition in the market and to have an offering, which would be great. I just wonder that if we do all this, do we go right back to where we started? But now you're just poor and you have health care and Medicare. I mean, health care and child care.
No,
Yeah,
the goal would be
people-
to get them living wages.
How
You
does
keep
your
saying
model
that this-
even benefit lower income housing, or not housing, homes? How
They-
does your model benefit them?
I think that it's in perspective. I mean, maybe that's why, maybe it's just a worldview, or like, I don't know. Maybe maybe that's why there is a left and the right, because the right's argument on this is like, I don't want anybody dictating who I pay insurance for, at what rate, putting caps on anything. I want quote unquote freedom, right? I don't want you to tax me for other people's failures. I don't want you to tax me because they couldn't figure it out. I don't really want to take care of the poor. I could care less, which is a maybe, very arguably a sad worldview, but there's got to be a way to somewhere in the middle.
Yours leans totally into capitalism and benefits corporations.
Hey, I will be right back in 1 second. If you guys want to support the Saturday live, testing it out, see how it goes. There's going to be more lives coming during the week. There's a Venmo Cash App in the bio. Alternatively, you guys can join the Patreon. You can sub on here. I think we hit the gift goal already. Let's go. Or you guys can sub over on YouTube or Patreon. But if you want to support the Saturday lives, you enjoy them, Venmo Cash App in the bio. I'll be right back in 1 second.
I guess what I've gotten from this conversation, which is probably a lot more, this is probably the best conversation I've had in a long time. I definitely understand why you believe in what you believe in, and I understand how it could work. I guess it's just part of my job to, or anybody else who's listening who leans more towards the right, is just to maybe find some middle ground there, because maybe people should have a minimum wage that's dictated on where they live, and maybe there should be investment back into, by law, investment back from the corporation into the people who work for them, that generate all that wealth for them, and maybe there should be caps on the margins so that you don't run people dry and overcharge them, and make 5x what you built it for. And maybe there are some ways to come back to an America that was in the middle of both of these ideologies. So I just appreciate it, and just have a nice rest of the week. And
Are you gonna bounce right now?
yeah, I kind of have to. I got a call scheduled,
All right,
but just thank you. I really, honestly, I appreciate it. I wish more people would just hear each other out. So I just thanks a lot.
All right. Take care.
See everybody. Bye.
Well, okay.
That was fun.
That was wild. Oh God, this guy. We gotta
Sure.
find-
No yelling, Rodrigo.
Yeah, please, no yelling. It's Saturday, bro.
Is he loading? Are you sleeping?
Oh, hey, there you are. Oh, I didn't know I was called up. Sorry, guys. Yep, no, won't be doing any yelling. How are you guys?
Not bad.
Well.
Yeah,
What you
I
got
think
today?
that from my perspective, I think that Donald Trump is still doing a what we wanted, and he's doing a very good job in implementing that.
You want him attacking the Constitution? That's weird.
I think that with the part about Garcia and also the Venezuelans, I personally would prefer, and I think that he should allow them to have the additional due process that they're requesting before removal.
But you
Now,
said he was doing everything you wanted him to do. He's attacking the Constitution, right? Like he's attacking the First Amendment by deporting people who are speaking out against Israel. He's attacking the First Amendment by going against universities, threatening to take the tax exemptions away from universities if they do anything he doesn't like due to DEIA. He's attacking not only Garcia, but he's like these things are part of our Constitution, and you're okay with that. You said so when you came in.
no, I just said so right now when I said that I'm not okay with it. That means that I'm not okay with it.
Oh,
But
you said
as
he
a-
was doing everything you wanted him to do, though. That's where I misunderstood.
Right. So, and that's why I clarified it for you, so you don't have to have the misunderstanding.
So
now
you
we
don't
can
agree
move
with him
forward.
attacking the Constitution?
No, I don't agree with him attacking the Constitution.
Okay.
I do agree with him with the goal of mass deportations, and I think that people on the left are going to go hysterical because they are coming.
Weird, 'cause that's
And
against the Constitution, bro.
no, that's not
Like
against
you
it.
said, you're for mass deportations, but that takes out the due process aspects of the Constitution.
Okay, so
You are literally
just-
talking out both sides of your mouth, or
Dude.
you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Which one is
dude,
it?
okay.
Did you dox GT?
I saw Rodrigo.
Wait, did you
turn his-
dox GT?
I've never doxed anyone. What the fuck? Can we just have a conversation?
1 second. Hey, Rodrigo, when you were on Allison's live, like I think it was Thursday, Friday night, you turned your cam on, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've turned it on for like 25 lives now because this conspiracy, like everybody, oh, you're not real, you're not real. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
I did see what Rodrigo looked like. And it's not Ryan.
No, I whatever. So no, so just to go back to this, the point of conversation, just so that everyone's clear on this, a person who is in the United States who is a non-citizen, they are to be removed from the country. That is legal. They do not get the Garcia case and the Venezuela cases that are going on are different than a normal removal process of a person who committed an illegal act to enter the country. A normal process is for them to go to court. They're deemed and they can't prove that they are a U.S. citizen. At that moment, when the judge issues their deportation, they are done. They don't get any more due process. And also, that is their due process. That is the due process the United States has set up for illegal immigrants. So, what I'm saying is, I want that process to be upheld. And then once that determination is made, they are to be deported. Yes.
But that's not mass deportation.
Yes, that's what's coming up, is what I'm saying. So
It's not. He's literally not doing that.
He's right. So what he's doing right now is they're putting together a package to offer people who are here illegally. They haven't released what the package will be, but they are currently putting together a package to offer illegals in order to self-deport.
They're not illegal. First of all. Second of all, They're
A
not
human that
doing
committed an
that.
illegal act.
They're literally just mass deporting people without due process, which is against the Constitution. So you can say up here, and I'm not even sure if what you're saying is true. I'm pretty sure you're lying about it. But
Well, instead of making that claim,
what
just
package,
do
whatever
what it is I
package
said.
that you want them to set up is not set up, and they're actively attacking citizens.
No. What citizen? Name the citizen that's been actively attacked.
The gentleman, shit, I'll have to look up his name. The gentleman in Florida, he was just released, but he had to go through the bullshit of being arrested.
He was held until he produced his proof that he was a U.S. citizen. He was released immediately upon doing so.
No, he wasn't released immediately, actually. The judge looked at the documentation, said that it was legit. It was confirmed to be a birth certificate. But the ICE, which was a federal agency, I'm literally telling you what happened, and you interrupted me to ask what happened. ICE, which is a federal agency, had already put in an order, a warrant for him. So the judge could not release him until he had orders from ICE. So he had to sit in jail for another day.
He was released.
Gomez, correct.
He was released within 24 hours of the document being verified.
He should have never ever been in. He was
American
a passenger. He was driving to his job or riding in the same car, going to his job. His mother came down and gave the birth certificate. Here's the thing: they have access to vital statistics. They could have immediately got into the system, pulled his vital statistics, and let him go with an apology.
I would agree with that. If they have the capabilities to do that and they didn't do that, then I would.
So you asked who they were doing it to. There you go. That's an American citizen. 75% of the people that they've deported have absolutely no criminal history.
Well, that's not no. Every one of them have a criminal history because they entered the country illegally. That is a crime.
That's not true. It's not true.
So there's people being deported that entered the country legally and
yes. You know it's legal to seek asylum within this country, right? According to 8 U.S.C. 1158, people are allowed to step foot on this soil and seek asylum. That is a legal process. And he is deporting people who are legally seeking asylum in this country without due process. Like, why do you keep insisting that he's not doing this? He is taking people who are here legally and he's deporting them to prisons.
Okay. I've admitted to that point. I've conceded. What do you want me to do? Can we move to another point? I've said I don't agree with that. I don't want him to do that.
Nutcracker, take the day
You're
off.
literally fighting me on it. You're sitting here, well, they came here illegally, and you're trying to justify him doing it.
Okay, so do you know?
Rodrigo, if you don't agree with it, have you called your representatives and senators and demanded that they be returned?
No.
Why not?
I'm quite positive that it's getting enough news coverage without me, and that's not a priority for me. So if somebody wants to do that, I'm fine with that.
So really quick,
let's
just go through the script here. So you guys believe you need pew-pews to stop government tyranny, but when it happens, you won't even call your senator?
Well, the thing is I think if we're going to have a fair conversation about this, the reason why this is happening on the right, so we have to remember this entire situation was caused by the fact that the Biden administration allowed an exorbitant high number of
allow anyone.
Mr. Garcia came here in 2016.
Okay, they didn't allow them. For whatever reason, the Biden administration was unable to meet the
Biden administration apprehended more people. No, the Biden administration apprehended more people at the border than any other administration.
Right, because there were more coming. So
what does that have to do? What does that have to do with the Biden administration?
I want to talk about the number of gotaways during the Biden administration. Are you familiar with what a gotaway is?
You're talking about someone that came in to apply for asylum and never shows up to court?
No, a gotaway is our border patrol. We have surveillance equipment all along the southern border. Infrared, video, everything. And what they do is they review all of that information, and then they count the number of human beings that get past the point of where all of the security is. Those are known as gotaways. Okay, those
You're
are
missing,
people.
wait, hold on. You're missing one. And Rolo explained this. If they see footprints near
Yes, that is
like the
correct.
border, but they
Yes.
never find the person's footprints like that made them, they count
Yes.
that as well. It could have
That's
been a
true.
border patrol person that actually
Okay,
made those
let me.
footprints.
Okay, that is absolutely true. What she just said, they do count footprints. That is part of the criteria. But let me say this: the number of gotaways got to a point that they were so bad that in the one border section, they had 60 employees simply monitoring the number of gotaways, and they could not
dramatic.
count all of them.
Hey man, quick question.
So-
Right, but
Now,
what
what's
is this
hold on,
doing
hold on,
to
I'm not done.
America?
So Donald Trump's number of gotaways
Really quick.
is do you know how many it is now?
He's just
Really
gonna
quick,
steamroll
I just want to
people.
point out, hold on a second. I want to point out,
47
you're
people.
aware, really quick, you're aware that the reason that the numbers went up under Biden was because of Trump's policy.
So I'm aware that the number of, I just want to be sure I'm correct on this. I'm aware that the numbers went up under Biden because of Trump's policies. Are you
Yes.
talking about the policies that Biden got rid of that then
No.
caused this?
No,
Okay,
Title
what about remaining
42.
Mexico? What about
Remain in
remaining
Mexico has to do with people that are coming here legally and seeking asylum. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Not a
It has
goddamn
everything
thing.
to do with that.
It has
It does,
absolutely
because-
nothing to do with what we're talking about. It has zero. You were talking
Okay.
about people crossing undocumented. That has to do with people coming here documented.
Right. Okay. So
The
yes, I'm
policy
talking
of
about the
remain in
gotaways. I
Mexico
wanna talk
only
about that.
applies to people seeking TPS or refugee status.
Okay. So I want to talk
Mexico
about
said
the
that they
gotaways.
would not uphold remain in Mexico anymore. It
Yeah,
was
I want
kind
to
of a
talk about
disaster for them.
specifically
So
the gotaways.
Donald Trump, so I'm talking about this. Donald Trump enacted Title 42. Under Title 42, you can continue to return to the United States to apply for asylum, or visa or whatever else you're going to apply for. But you can be denied by Border Patrol more easily. And so more people kept coming here through the Biden administration. When Biden ended that policy, the amount of migrants that were coming here went down by 70%. Because if they don't have a valid claim and they come here, it gets denied. And then they can't come back and reapply for 5 years. That
But we're
was a
talking
Trump
about
policy.
Okay.
You're trying to
We're
imply
talking
that
about
Biden had some bad policy despite the fact that he dealt with an influx of migrants, largely caused by COVID, and by a market in the United States that had seen, 17 million people become chronically ill because of COVID, and millions of people die.
Okay, but let's just say I accept every bit of what you just said. The bottom line is this: when
you
Biden
reject it.
was in office, he claimed that he could not do what Donald Trump just did. So Donald Trump
What did Donald Trump just do?
He lowered the number of gotaways by 95% plus.
What do you mean he can't do that? There are people that were afraid to come to the United States because they didn't know what the Trump administration was going to do, and based off the rhetoric that they were using, I can be honest with you, I would be afraid to come to the United States.
Well, if that's
Even if
what
I
it
did have a
takes is
legitimate
rhetoric,
claim.
that's wonderful. But
What policy did Donald Trump put in place to lower the number by 95%?
well, number one, he is exactly correct. Just the fact of
Couldn't
the
I
people
make the-
knowing that
No,
they
I
will
wanna-
be
I wanna hear
deported
this.
and this is going to be just the fact of them knowing that they're going to be deported and this is being enforced. One, two, he just put military on the border. Three,
We've had military on the border.
And
Military's
just
been on the
so everybody-
border.
Not as
Even
many.
under the
They put more
under the Biden administration.
right, they were because it
So
was
they
complete chaos.
so intimidation, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Intimidation. is
So
definitely one of
intimidation
them.
with
Much more
violence.
lethal.
So exactly what I said. Yeah, intimidation with
Wait,
violence.
How did you just attach the B word to there when I never said that? You just did
Because
that.
you're talking about military members. Couldn't you put anyone at the border?
Do you know what the military members are doing there?
I don't think they know what they're doing there, but I don't know what that
They
has
know
to do with
exactly.
it. Why, if it was any
They're-
other,
they're-
couldn't you
they
just
know-
hired more
they know
border
exactly
patrol?
What they're doing there, because what they're doing there is they're taking over the positions that the border patrol would normally occupy because they're taking care of so many illegals. So
That's
they're
against the
taking over.
Constitution, my guy.
It's
What is?
militarization. Why would
That's
you want
literally
the
against the
military?
Constitution. So what he's doing is
What-
he's
what
taking a
is?
very slim sliver of land in between the border of Mexico and America, and
Yes.
he's taking that over and claiming it as a military base, so that way he can establish military presence at the border. He's just skirting around the Constitution, and you're up here defending it. He's going against the
Yeah.
Constitution. Yeah, yeah.
And I think that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to circle back on
Yeah.
You know he's
this,
tried
'cause
this
this is
before,
where we started.
Rodrigo. You know he's sort of done this before. You know that Bible photo op that he did. Remember that?
I remember when they tried to light the church on fire and they stopped it.
No,
Yes.
that's not what I asked you. Do you remember when he
Oh.
went and held the Bible upside? So he had to cross the street, and he turned and he looked at the military people and was like, "Can't you shoot these protesters in the knees?" He wanted
He's
to
made that claim
militarize
multiple times.
against citizens of the United States.
So I think that there's some misconception. So I'd really like to talk about the EOIR. Are you guys familiar with what that is? It's the
If you give me the
it's the
non-acronym, I had a different thing I was going to get
Yes.
into, but sure, go ahead.
okay. Yeah, sorry. The non-acronym is Executive Office of Immigration Review. And what that is that is the department that is the head of everything to do with immigration in the United States. And that is currently controlled by Marco Rubio. So that's why, and the point I'm making is this is under the executive branch, which is
It's
what
not.
the
That's not how that
president
works.
controls.
No, that's
Okay,
not how that
well,
works.
okay.
Enforcement is, but you don't get to make up the laws. So the question I want to ask you, because this argument always is always predicated on a framing that somehow immigration is bad. So you're saying that him getting rid of immigrants is a good thing. I would make the argument that it's a bad thing.
Illegal.
They're not illegal. They're undocumented. Okay, so Trump is illegal.
Okay, well,
Is Trump illegal?
a person-
Is Trump illegal? Is Trump illegal? Is Trump illegal?
No.
Good. Undocumented then. Back to what I was
Okay, so
saying.
then
Can you tell me?
Okay,
Can
so
you tell
let
me? I'm sorry. Donald Trump is convicted. Like Donald Trump has 34 felonies. The people being deported, 75% of them haven't been convicted of anything. You're calling them illegal, but not Trump.
I'm calling
Cool.
the act
Good
of them
story.
entering
Awesome.
the country illegal.
That's not what you're
Am I
saying.
incorrect?
Can you-
Their act was
You have a president
Yes, you are
committing
correct.
felonies.
It's
These are real.
widely observed by international law that doing that is perfectly fine, and in the United States, it's observed that as well. Trump has weaponized it. Now, can you tell me? Because I know you're trying your damnedest to get out of this. Why should I care about migrants?
It's the economic impact that people on the right are concerned about.
What economic impact?
The economic impact of importing, or not importing, but the economic impact of an extreme swell of undereducated, poor,
Cool.
non-English speaking people.
They're taking our
Cool. So
drugs.
hold on, really quick. The negative impact. Let's look at that. Biden let in more migrants than any president in American history. What happened to the economy?
That's that has nothing to do with the impact.
No,
of
you're
them
you're
being
you're
here.
literally saying that this is the case. What happened to the stock market and what happened to the economy under Biden with the influx of migrants? Did the stock market go down? Did the economy collapse?
No, that's not what anyone's debating. What people are debating.
No,
is,
we are.
is-
That's what we are
having-
debating. You're saying that it's a negative economic impact by allowing an
Right,
influx
and
of
the
migrants. So I'm
indication-
giving you a direct time in which we experience a major influx of migrants, the most influx, the time in which it should have led to the collapse of the American economy if you were correct. But what happened?
I'm not talking about the economy collapsing. I'm talking about expenditures of us paying for them to be here. That's the
Okay,
economic
but that's not
part.
true at all. That's not what you were just saying. Okay, so it doesn't have to do
That's
with the
the
negative
economic-
economic consequences. Awesome. So are you for cutting off red states from funding from blue states then, since they're a detriment to the country?
That is the. Are you familiar with the study that you're quoting?
There's multiple different studies. There's one that comes out every single year. I'm very
Okay,
familiar with it.
Okay. Well, what are
There's actually
what is
multiple that
the-
comes out every single year.
Okay. Well, if you want to provide one of them, I will
Cool,
do it
awesome.
real
I'll
quick.
provide this one to you. 16% of counties that voted for Biden make up 71% of the U.S. GDP.
Okay. Did you also know that 8 out of the top 10 richest counties in the United States voted for Biden? Because they're the party of the wealthy now.
I don't know what that has to do with what I just said. 71% of the American GDP is made up in counties that voted for Biden.
That's fine.
And it's something like 6.
So I'm just asking you, should we cut off Florida? Should we cut off the South? They're taking my tax dollars. They're a detriment to the United States. They're a danger financially.
I would be perfectly happy with you guys cutting them off, but that does include the military cost also. You know that, right?
This is federal tax dollars in versus federal tax dollars out.
Right, which is federal tax dollars pay for the military, like it's in Virginia. Do you want that?
No, it's federal tax dollars in versus federal tax dollars out. And the red states do not provide a dime to this country. So you'd be okay with cutting them off. So hold on a second. Hold on a second. How much money are migrants taking in that you're claiming?
Well, I just looked up last night. So Texas had, the last documentation I could see is it was a net negative from people who entered the country illegally. It was a net negative of $2.4 billion only for the cost of people who entered the country illegally to give birth. Just the cost of I'm
asking you for a collective one. I don't really care that it costs us $2.5 billion.
We don't have a collective.
So you're upset. Hold on a second. So you're upset about. Hold on a second. I'm just to clarify. You're upset about detriments on the American economy and the debts that they're accruing. Awesome, cool. So how can you sit there really quick, Rodrigo? How can you sit there?
Not the economy, the cost. Not economy,
right. Awesome, cool. I'm so glad you brought that up. So how can you sit here in good faith and spew off that bullshit and ignore the fact that Donald Trump is giving away $4.5 trillion to billionaires?
So okay, let's stay on topic.
I'm not deviating from the topic. You're telling me that you want Donald Trump to save us a bunch of money from immigration, which, by the way, it's not. They're a net positive to America because our GDP would decline by over 8% if we were to get rid of migrants out of this country. Over 8% our GDP would decline. That, for reference, is about $1.9, $1.8 trillion off the top of my head. In GDP growth. And that's not saying that we wouldn't be able to feed ourselves. So if your concern is that it's going to incur this incredible cost, I'm very curious as to why you're okay with Donald Trump giving us this cost of $4.5 trillion to billionaires.
Okay, first, before I answer that, can you explain this to me? Because this is what's confusing. So when the average person who enters the country illegally comes across, you know that they're poor, right? The average, they're very poor. So what you're claiming is if we import very, very poor people that don't have any money, they're somehow injecting cash into our economy.
They help the GDP because they create productivity. They create productivity in the same way. Hold on a second. And this is such a fucking crazy double standard. This is such a crazy fucking double standard. Hold on. So on one side, this is such a crazy double standard. So on one side, you're claiming that Americans continuing to get paid poverty wages is a good thing for the economy, and we shouldn't deviate from that. But bringing in people from other countries that are in the same economic status or similar is detrimental to the country. That's crazy. That's crazy that came out of your mouth.
That's not what I said.
So okay, so you're for raising the minimum wage. Are you for raising the minimum wage?
I'm for not having people who enter the country illegally pushing
I'm asking you, are you for raising the minimum wage or not?
I am not for that, no.
Okay, then don't tell me how you're concerned about migrants coming here that are impoverished because you accept the poverty that's happening in America. You think that's good for the economy. You cannot hold two thoughts at the same time that are contradictory. That's cognitive dissonance. On one side, Americans being poor and working as slaves in America is beneficial for the United States, but people coming here and doing the same thing is not. That doesn't make any sense.
It's not beneficial for the people doing it. If you would hold on and let me speak for 10 seconds, I'll explain this to you. The people who enter the country illegally are pushing down wages for Americans. It's supply and demand. The more supply you have...
Don't tell me you're concerned about the minimum wage being pushed down because you're not for putting in regulations to raise it up. You don't get to play both sides of the fence.
Right, I want to
You
help poor
don't
people,
get to
so I'm
play
not.
both sides of the fence. You don't get to sit there and go, these people are bringing down the amount of money that people are getting paid in the United States, and then be against raising it up to counteract that. Because your whole process here is like, we need to go through this crazy, incredible thing of mass deporting everyone to solve a problem that could be done with legislation in a fucking afternoon. That doesn't make any sense.
How do you legislate removing all the people who committed an illegal act and then open up? So, whatever. Who cares about that? My point is, I'm against minimum wage because I'm for poor people. Minimum wage adversely raising that.
You're for tariffs. You're for tariffs.
Yes,
What are
I
you
am.
talking
Correct.
about? Who do
Yes.
tariffs adversely affect?
The country that the tariff is put
No.
on. It's the country.
Don't. I'm just gonna call you out on it immediately. Don't try and gaslight me. Don't try and bullshit me.
What do you think the answer is?
I know if you don't know what the answer is, we got a problem.
I think that you're going to claim that.
So
it's
who? So hold on. So yeah. So really quick, who do
Okay.
those companies accrue that cost upon? It's the
depends.
consumer. No,
Incorrect, sir, and I can prove it
it's
in a
the
minute. I can prove you wrong
consumer.
in- Okay, let me ask you a couple questions. Do you remember in 2016 when Donald Trump
Hold on.
put the tariffs?
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Rodrigo. So you've got a lot of people that think you're the guy that doxed Good Trouble. Could you just turn on your camera for like 2 seconds?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I know. I've seen you.
Hi.
Hey, it's not rain.
It's
not
not. I'm a regular person.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay. So do you remember in 2016 when Trump put on the initial tariffs on China and China retaliated and put on tariffs onto commodities, farmers specifically, and then they put tariffs on that? Do you remember when that happened?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you remember that Donald Trump then subsidized those tariffs that the farmers were paying? Remember that?
He subsidized the farmers with the farm bill, right?
Correct. So what happened there was China effectively paid no tariff on that. We did. We subsidized it. And China does that all the time with goods.
China paid no tariff on what?
On the farm goods that we subsidized to be sent over there.
What? Right? Why are you comparing that
Because
to what Trump is currently doing? That's our export. That's not our import.
Right, but just
Why are you
reverse it.
comparing imports to
Reverse it.
exports?
Reverse
It's not
it
a
is the
reversible
point.
thing. It's not a
Yes,
reversible
we're
thing.
now
I don't
doing it-
understand what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll explain that. So we now put a tariff on China, and China's government now subsidizes their company in the same way that we did. They even do it more than we do. And there's an MIT
Only
study.
by destroying our industry in the U.S. What point are you trying to
This
make?
is the silliest fucking.
This
Is
the
he
point.
not
He's
just
trying to
making my
explain how
point and
China's
saying?
He's trying to say China's going to suffer from our tariffs.
I'm trying to
they
say that
don't-
they will subsidize a large portion of the tariffs. And if you look after the
For
2016
what?
tariffs,
Subsidize who? Who's China going to subsidize for our
their own
tariffs?
companies. Their own companies.
How is that going to hurt China and not us?
When
The end result is
okay,
we
hold
pay
on.
more for those products, correct?
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to tell you.
It's a yes or no question. Do we
that is
pay
correct.
more for the products? Okay, then
Correct.
how does that hurt China and not us?
Okay, I'll
You
explain.
make no sense, man.
Okay, I'll explain it. So in 2016, he put on a 20% tariff. There's 5 professors at MIT have now studied those tariffs and the impacts of them. Of the 20% tariff that was put on, do you know the percentage that was passed on to U.S. consumers? They calculated it.
It was subsidized to the tune of $200 billion.
Right, 0.7%.
Right.
0.7.
Right, because it was subsidized by the government, which is our tax money, to the tune of $200
No.
billion. So we paid for it still, regardless. We might have had to pay for it at the grocery store,
How
but
did
we
we
paid for it one
subsidize
way or
this?
other.
Wait a minute.
Because when China stopped buying our soy, we had to bail out our farmers.
No. I'm talking about we put 20% tariffs on all the Chinese goods in 2016 under Trump. When those goods got here, the MIT 5 people studied what happened to those goods.
Okay.
0.7% is the cost that it went up to the consumer. Okay. So
Okay.
what that means is if
For what
we-
products?
Every one of them that were under the original tariff of 2016.
What products were under those tariffs?
It was steel, aluminum. There was many of them. All of those products that were under that, it went up by 0.7. So let me explain what that means. So that means that if we have an import coming from China, the government now collects $20 for that as a tariff. We as a consumer are paying 70 cents of that $20.
Okay,
The
so
other
our products go up.
$19.30 is literally being subsidized by China. They're
Bullshit.
subsidized. Dude, I'll tell you
So
exactly
China
how this
is
works.
paying our people to sell their products?
Correct. Yes. This is how
Nonsense.
it works.
Bullshit.
Okay, well,
bro,
I'm placing an
so you're
order
trying
right
to tell
now.
me China is paying a company in America to sell Chinese products? They're sending a check to cover the $1.19.
Incorrect.
The
This is how it
$19.
works. No, this is how it works. So how it works is
You're so full of shit, dude. You're literally making this up as you go along. When products
I'm
reach the
literally
shore of
ordering-
America, cool. When products reach the shore of America, they're handed a bill of sale
Right.
and tariff. And they
Correct.
have to pay that bill of sale and tariff before they can import the product into the rest of the continental United States.
That is
Really
correct.
quick, I need 1 second.
The company
No, go ahead. Finish up, Josh.
the company that buys the product from China absorbs that cost and then passes it on to the consumer. China, nowhere in there does China come in and say, "Hey, Ace Hardware, we're gonna pay you for what your country has done to you." No, the fuck
Incorrect.
are you
So
talking
what
about?
I'll tell you. So what they do is in the Ace Hardware one, if Ace Hardware is buying $1 million worth of nuts and bolts, and they normally pay 10 cents per nuts and bolt, and now the tariffs are in place, what that company now will do in China, I know this because I'm literally doing it, the company in China will say, hey, look, we normally charge you 10 cents for that product, but we know the tariffs are now here, and we know you have to pay those. So instead of us charging 10 cents, we're going to charge you 9. So they lower the cost of the good in order to offset the tariff that is being incurred in the United States.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
And
It doesn't
that's
happen,
why-
but it doesn't happen. But regardless,
that's what.
so
You
all
guys
that's
can
happened
read-
is. So hold on a second. So now, so let me get this straight. So just let's just clear this up. So now, appreciate it. We're paying the same prices according to you, and our businesses are being
0.7.
targeted by China.
Up by 0.7%. And
So what
targeted
did we
by
get?
China. We got what we got was the $19.30 on that tariff as free money.
The $19.30, and they're also targeting our businesses.
Define targeting our business. I don't even know what that means.
So really quick, well, because they're putting tariffs on us, but just really quick, quick question. How is 100%? How much are you supposed to drop the price off that would cover 125% tariffs? Are you giving it away?
Right, and that's
are you
why
paying people?
nothing's-
Are you paying
That's why
people to
nothing's
take
really
it?
coming in.
I'm just doing the simple. I'm just doing the simple math for you. If you're charging 125% tariff, what does China lower their price to cover the
They
difference?
can't. That breaks the system. That's the point of it.
Oh,
It breaks the system.
Oh, and then so we end up paying more.
No, yeah, if you want those same goods, but what will happen is the goods will come from other countries and it cripples China. So China will
The
bend
goods,
the knee.
the
because
goods
they
will
have no
come from
alternative.
other. What other? China produces 55% of everything on this planet. By the way, Trump's trying to put tariffs on those other countries, including Vietnam, which would be the
Right, so
obvious
that they
other
can't-
export.
Right, that's so that they can't circumvent the
We're
tariffs.
13%.
So then they're not moving it
What
to
point
other
are they gonna
countries and
bend the knee?
breaking China.
Yeah, they are. That's why he did the tariffs worldwide, so they couldn't
So they're
circumvent.
moving it to right, and then we pay 90% increase on Vietnam.
No, because he doesn't have those tariffs on Vietnam. Plus,
Well,
just
that's
let
what
it
he
play
wants to
out.
do. That's what he
Just let it play
proposed.
out. Just let it play out. I'm
We've
giving you
let
a
it
high
play out
level-
in history. It led us to a depression.
No. TikTok, what did you just ask me? You asked me something.
Jessica, appreciate it for the 10 over on Venmo. FDT on a Saturday. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jessica. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for Jessica and for Andreu? Not every MAGA is a racist, but every racist is a MAGA. Andreu, appreciate the 5 over there. Thank you. Dubs and drumsticks in the chat for them. If you guys want to support the Saturday Live, I'm going to have to go here in just a minute because Baby K has arrived, but or is arriving, but I Yeah, if you guys enjoyed the Saturday Live and want to see it keep going, Venmo, Cash App in the bio. You can sub on here. You can sub on Patreon or YouTube, but would appreciate it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so TikTok was getting ready to say, I believe, that what percentage of the goods we buy from China, but
Yeah,
what
it's
you
about
have to-
13% of the Chinese
Right.
economy. That means they have 87% of the rest of the world to just like if you really think that China's gonna bend the knee to us, for one, they haven't. They've done everything but. They actually came out the other day and said that they had a state meeting. They went ahead and pulled the plug on all intellectual property. They're not following our intellectual property rights anymore. They're going to go ahead and just make shit as good as ever and sell it at better prices.
But if I, yeah, a couple things. First of all, China is very, very good at making what would be considered lower end goods, a manufacturing.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's because they followed our intellectual property laws. They respected our property laws because they wanted good trade with us. They don't care now. They've said, hey, we did this on purpose. We intentionally made lower quality products because of the trades that we have with China. They said, fuck that. We're going all in. We're making it just as good. The only difference between this and a Louis Vuitton bag is it won't have the LV logo on it. It's going to be just as quality, though.
But the problem is that the problem that they're going to have is they're very, very bad at very high-end stuff. And here's what I mean by that.
They're not. They make the high-end stuff, dude.
Hold on.
They make all that
dude,
stuff.
all of the high-end, they make it everything. All the designer shit, it's all made there.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. What percentage of aircraft engines are imported to China for them to make aircraft?
So
It's all
a lot of them, right,
can't make
right, but
aircraft
they,
without us.
right. But they're not
So they
trying.
can make
That's
no
because
more airplanes.
This is kind of the point. This is actually like this defeats your own fucking point in such an atrocious way.
they're
The
reliable
reason
on
that they
us.
import, hold on a second. The reason that they import airplane parts is because we're so good at building airplanes that they're like, the market's not really there. It would cost us a lot of money to start it up. And so we don't really feel like it would be beneficial for us to invest money in doing that. Even though they do build some planes there, they allow Boeing to make pretty much everything, right? Because they're good at it. They're very, very good at it. Very, very thorough, or at least, used to be. But they're better. And it's going to cost, trillions of dollars for them to start up an aerospace manufacturing company, right? It's going to cost an insane amount of money. So they allow us to do it in the same respect that we cannot breach their manufacturing ability. Because it's better, it's easier for them. They don't have to go out and recruit people to train. It's the same thing for Boeing. Boeing, like if China wanted to make an airspace company, they don't have to go out and recruit people. They don't have to bring people in. There's no learning curve. They don't have to go through all the problems and process of trying to figure it out. The same thing with their manufacturing. They're not going to. They are it.
I agree. I agree with all
So
of that. The point
they're not.
that
It's
I'm
not
making
coming
is-
back here.
So the point that I'm making is that that point that they have consequences as well from high end. Point one. Point two, in order for them to now go after markets to counteract the U.S. market that they would have to go away from, who has the expendable cash to buy these goods? You have to have cash or access to credit in order to buy something. So where is this hundreds
They're
of
out
billions
here
and
nation
trillions?
building.
The-
They're
well,
nation
somebody
building.
has to
They're
come up with
building new
trillions of-
markets.
Right.
They're building
but
new
we're the
markets.
Country, our economy is built on consumerism. People in the United States buy shit. And now
Right. So if people don't buy shit, what happens to the economy?
what happens to the economy is China makes nothing. That's my point.
No,
So
what happens to
now
our
they
retail
are-
economy? What happens to all the jobs, the shops, the services, all that stuff? What happens?
Right, but we can go get it from another country, so we're okay. China can't go
Where
get
would we
new
go and get
buyers.
it from? Who's
Vietnam,
going to
India.
Right, they
But let
don't
me ask
have
you
the
this-
facility.
let me ask you this.
So here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but China has spent decades, 2 decades, making it so that they're a one-stop shop for every country on the planet. You don't have to go to this country to get that, and that country to get this, and that country to go that. You go to China. They have it all. And you're saying that we should establish new stuff because Vietnam does make a significant amount of stuff, but the stuff that they make is not anywhere comparable to China making iPhones or computers.
Right, but see, here's what's happening, sir. China's faced with this question. They have to find $1 trillion markets. That's what they have to find. If we each provide asset to this relationship. Our asset to the relationship is we provide buyers. We have people with money, they like to buy shit. We have buyers. China provides goods, okay? China's going to have a harder time finding buyers than we're going to have finding producers. So they're the ones who are going to be negatively impacted by this far more. They will bend the knee.
I don't think so.
100%.
I think they're in a better spot. I would much rather be in.
300
I think I would much rather be in China's spot in this particular time. If Kamala had won, I wouldn't want to be, but I think I'd rather be in China's position at this time.
I think that this is very similar to during the Cold War when a lot of people had these opinions about Russia.
And what happened during the Cold
thought they
War?
were an
What
equal.
happened? Wait. But what happened during the Cold War? Look at this is like every example you're bringing up is proving your point. Russia could not match our tech. They couldn't match it. And so
and neither
what did
could
they
China.
do? Hold on.
can't
What
either.
did they do? What?
China can't match our tech either. That's
China's
why
not
in
making
theory-
that
Can.
right, but they can, but we're blundering everything. But this is my
no,
point.
they have-
Is it no, hold on. I'm not using it as I'm not using it as an exact one-to-one, but just hear me out. In the Cold War, Russia could not match our tech. Period. They were not advancing technologically because we had gotten a head start on semiconductors. We had gotten a significant head start on semiconductors to the point that they couldn't catch up. So what did they do? They did manufacturing. And they manufactured the fuck out of weaponry, right? They
Yes,
did a ton
yes.
of manufacturing. And inevitably they ended up failing in large part because they did not have that tech boom. So they just continued to manufacture. And so in the same circumstance, Donald Trump is undermining the CHIPS Act. He's undermining technology. He's undermining our positioning in the world for technology. And he's literally going and saying we're going to be a manufacturing economy like China. He's doing the same fucking mistake that the Russians did.
No, so I wanted to cross back. So the mistake that you're talking about with Russia, you are 100% right. That happened, and it is the AK is the thing. And the reason why that is the most prevalent pew-pew in the world is because Russia it's not a free market. So they knew we produce the best AK pew-pew in the entire world. It's the best, undisputed. So what they did was they just kept producing them. So they built warehouse and warehouse and warehouse and warehouse of these pew-pews instead of diverting all of those resources to another good that they could produce. They just kept producing them. And that's why when the Cold War fell, they had the movie that you saw where the people, what was the name of it, where they fly over there and buy pew-pews and all that stuff. It's a movie, it's a comedy or comedy,
Okay.
whatever. But it's true. That's what happened. So yes, the point being is that they cannot find a replacement for all of the consumers that we have. They can't. It can't be done. They don't
that's
exist.
not beneficial because there's more markets that they can create them to, but they're also not just in manufacturing. They're moving into tech. And I'll ask you this question. I'll ask it like this, because this is the dilemma, and you can go ahead and explain to me how this makes sense, and then I have to go. You have China right now is catching up in their semiconductor production. Why? Because they've invested hundreds of billions of dollars into it. We had the CHIPS Act. The CHIPS Act was set to bring manufacturing to the United States by about 2030. Could be a little early, 2028, somewhere in there. But it's at the point where if something happened to TSMC, which is the semiconductor factory in Taiwan, that we would have the ability to manufacture at least chips to make our society function. But right now what's happening, Trump is undermining the CHIPS Act, saying that we're getting screwed, cutting the implementation of it so that we're not going to have these semiconductor factories operating at max capacity in record time. Instead, they're going to flounder, and we're also not going to have the resources globally. So he's undermining the shit out of that. So we can't even bring the resources in. We can't work on the foundries so that we can separate the different types of rare earth like China has because they have a monopoly on it. And he's setting it up so that China is about 3 years behind commercial viability at TSMC. meaning that China has 3 years till they catch up to the commercial capacity, not like the advanced chip capacity, you know, the ones where they're using in the military, but commercial capacity. So can you tell me in this situation what happens? Donald Trump undermines a chip act. We have relatively little ability to build chips in the United States, and we certainly don't have the ability to bring in any of the rare earth to actually make these chips. China, the opposite. They have a monopoly on all of it. They can bring in rare earth. They have the foundries. They have the ability to separate these rare earth. So can you tell me in a situation, if China were to bomb TSMC off the face of the earth, so we don't have anything, how has Donald Trump helped us by doing this?
My first question is, I don't have any information that Donald Trump has cut any funding or done anything to the CHIPS Act.
He said it during the State of the Union, and it was reported on over a month ago. He was firing the people that were supposed to be implementing the CHIPS Act.
Okay, but that's different. He didn't do anything to the CHIPS Act. He just let go of the people.
No, he
that
did.
Were there.
Right, he did the
in
people
charge
that
of
were literally implementing
and
it.
then he put
Yes,
new
he
people
got rid of the
there
people that were yes. If you have
He
funds
put
and you can't implement them,
competent people in. He then put in competent people to implement.
he hasn't
the
put
CHIPS
in
Act.
anyone.
Yes.
He hasn't put in anyone. He has stated during the State of the Union his intent was to kill the CHIPS Act. That was what he said.
Okay, I don't believe that. I want to quote or to. Look
I
it up so
literally
can
played
look
it
up.
for you. I remember because
No,
Mike
no.
Johnson winked when he said it.
Says Trump wants to end the chip.
He said it multiple times. I don't even know. He said he wanted to end the CHIPS Act.
Yeah, I've not heard him make that claim. I'm looking it up right now. My guess is, but I know you have to go. So I wanted to tell you that I greatly appreciate the time in the conversation. I do as well to Paige and TikTok. I just wanted to let you know that. I'll give, there's some confetti for TikTok, some confetti for
Okay.
Paige,
Well, I
and some confetti for you. Thank you so much.
appreciate you coming in. Take care.
Galaxy, bro. Like, I'm just kidding.
The galaxy for that.
Guys, if
Kelly,
you're enjoying
appreciate
this
it for the
show,
10.
follow-
1 second. Kelly,
just gonna say
appreciate it
follow
for the
those.
10 over on YouTube. Creations, appreciate it for the membership. Thank you. David, appreciate it for the membership. Fate, appreciate it for the 5. Bro doesn't realize that we are currently the Russia in his example. Yeah. Platform for Change Dark. Why can't you say arms instead of pew pew? We can. It was just something that everybody adopted, but I appreciate the $2. I don't know why everybody says it, but because I usually just say gun, but it was in fact something that could get like it suppressed early on. I don't know if that's still the case, but Karmic, appreciate it. What good are all of our consumers when we're all broke? Karmic, appreciate the 5 over there. Can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for them? David, appreciate it for the 25 over on Cash App. Nice Saturday surprise. Appreciate it. Thank you. Brooke, Patch, Norma. I'm just reading through all the names over here. Jessica, appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support of the channel. If you guys like the Saturday Lives, please go sub to the Patreon or head over to the YouTube. Everybody that tipped over here, appreciate it. Electric, Horror Chick, Rodrigo, Aisha, Ali, Dennis, appreciate you guys. And we'll be back on, I don't know if we'll be live tomorrow. I might. We'll see. We'll see if I'm on live. I don't know, because I don't know what's happening.
I'm
on
actually
tomorrow
planning on
with the
going
schedule,
live
so.
this afternoon. I'm gonna go live this afternoon. So if
Okay.
you guys want to follow me, we can. If you like this debate, come on over. We're gonna do DEIA. Gonna target
And if you
DEIA
guys,
live.
if you guys want to watch this because you missed a bunch of it, or you want to watch other stuff, go sub on tier 2 on YouTube or on the Patreon, and you can watch the playbacks. This one, because it's not like a night live, is going to be public, trying to help out the viewership over there. So if you guys want to go and watch the beginning part of it or something like that, you can head over there. Josh, Paige, can we get some dubs for them in the chat?
Yes, thank you very much for the
And,
gifts. I
yeah.
appreciate all of y'all.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for joining.
TikTok, Daniel said what time?
I'm gonna go live in about an hour. I'm gonna go get something to eat, charge up my phone a little bit, and then go live.
Awesome. All right.
I'll be
Thanks for having
hosting.
me.
All right, you guys take care. Be safe.
All right, I will see you guys later. I don't know who there is to raid. I don't have anybody online, but if a mod wants to pin it, I gotta go get Baby K. I will see you guys later.